You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Whoa, you just sprayed beer all over the keyboard and the table. Nice.
Welcome to the Beans and Dice podcast. I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
And we're a podcast about
How we game.
That's right. Except for Thursday nights, it is about how you game. It's the Thursday night live call-in show.
Nice.
It is Carlos and Rob right now. We're waiting to see if Mike and Wayne have an opportunity to pop in. I know they both have had busy work schedules.
Yep.
But my rule is the only consistent thing is inconsistency.
Yeah.
So I like I tell them, you pop in whenever you can, if you like, you pop in.
Do your thing.
Yep. I'm not picky.
Yeah.
I've never been picky. Yeah. I do not pretend to be a professional show. Period. Like we just don't pretend to be professional. So topics for this week.
You're succeeding. No.
Nothing.
Topics. No.
Nothing except for what we've done lately.
Yeah. What got up to the last week?
I'm really not caught up, or I haven't seen any big board game news.
No.
Other than just all the Wyrmspan on every media channel I can think of.
A little bit. Yeah.
Right.
I've seen that. It's kind of died down. I saw a bunch of it probably last week. This week I haven't seen a whole lot, but I guess some of the actual plays and stuff have started coming out now, so I haven't watched any of that stuff yet. But I guess they call it the embargo, not the embargo. Yeah. It's embargo on the videos has been lifted, so people are actually starting to look at reviews, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, hey, there's Wayne.
Speaking of embargoes, his embargo is up.
Unembargoed.
Work is over for the day.
Thank God.
Introduce yourself to the folks in the audio.
Hey, y'all. I'm Wayne.
Hey, Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
Hey.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's been 5 minutes since I've last played a board game.
Oh, yeah. Come here for your confessions.
Actually, been a day. It's been a day since I played my last board game.
Oh, a day. So you're probably better than me. It's been a couple days since I played. So, well, other than we played a quarter of a game, a third of a game before the show tonight. So, yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about that one. Because that's
what's on the table?
Oh, no, he's got Tapestry on the table, but we were Watergate. We were just a quick little two-player game.
I want to play that.
He just kind of taught me the rules, and we played a round or two. So, yep.
That is another one on BGA that we can play.
Is it on
nice.
BGA?
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta play that with Rob.
That reminds me. I was thinking I didn't have anything to talk about, but Wayne and I played a game. We'll talk about it later. But Wayne and I played a game on BGA, and it was quite a bit of fun. So, yeah.
We'll talk about games we played. We'll talk a little bit about the Tampa Gaming Guild flea market. So we'll kind of go through our hauls if you have one.
Oh, yeah.
Rob, did you get a haul?
No.
Oh, Wayne, did you get a haul?
Yeah.
Carlos, did you get? Ask me.
Carlos, did you get a haul?
Yeah, I got one. So we're gonna go through our hauls from the Tampa Gaming Guild flea market. Kind of go through that. But Wayne, I was saying that I had no news topics. So news-wise, I had nothing.
You got anything? I haven't heard much.
Not really. I mean, nothing. I mean, well, yeah. Like I think I jumped on you saying the Wyrmspan embargo is gone.
Yeah.
On our Discord server, plug for the Beans and Dice Discord server. We have
Heyo.
I've been kind of collecting all the YouTube videos, and there's a thread on our general forum with 8 or 9 or 10 videos from various other content creators, solo playthrough, this playthrough, review, thoughts, so people can get there. So I think that's certainly a sort of a news topic that next week, 31st, is when the sales go for that. So we know that Jamie's printed 100,000 copies in this
crazy
print run. That's like even
Board Game Insider podcast talked about that.
Ignacy and Steven were like, "Holy cow,
that's a lot of games."
He's like, I don't.
He said that's like 5 to 20 times like what you would normally see.
Most print runs are anywhere from 20,000 and less. Like a 20,000 print run is big, and you can even see that with like Jamie, like the initial I think. Viticulture box.
We'll start with this topic. We'll start Wyrmspan right off the bat.
I think if you go back and look at your your Wingspan box, the nesting box, or the viticulture box, he started numbering them, right? And even like Red Rising and all those other ones, all of those are like 20,000, 40,000, and those are big print runs. If you think about Kickstarters, if they have 2,000 or 3,000 backers, they're probably doing a 5,000 print run, and that's it. Right, so that's so it'd be interesting. 100,000 copies. That's
a couple of folks in the chat. Daryl is in there. He's talking about the Wyrmspan topic. Says that is a lot, but it may also include multiple languages.
Oh, sure, I'm sure it is. Yeah.
I mean, but even a smaller print run of 20,000 is probably not going to be all English language. You probably have a couple that are, non-English language in there.
See, but then when I think about that, what I was thinking of when I was hearing how crazy that is, that the amount of run they're doing, right? My first immediate thought was, what happens if there's a errata? Like
well, you got 100,000,
right?
100,000 corrections.
Yeah, you better make sure
yeah.
there's no misprint, right? Yeah,
right. There's no we'll fix it in the next print run,
Yeah.
right? It's oh crap. I gotta mail everybody a new die.
Well, it's not like Jamie
a new
doesn't
die.
do
to fix
that.
it.
Hasn't done that, but that's a lot. But
Hey, generally, he hasn't had like crazy errata in his game.
And that must be it. Is like his hasn't been so much errors in the game. Right? We're not talking Puerto Rico-esque. We forgot to give you the tokens
mistakes.
you needed.
Yeah.
Right. His tend to be balancing
or spelling errors or balancing or something
like
that
balance.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
So nothing that impacts the actual play of the game as much as things that are tweaked. So maybe he looked at his history and thought, we really haven't made a mistake like that.
I wouldn't put too much on that. We haven't done it yet. Oh, now we got 100,000 of a big mistake. But yeah, that's a little dangerous.
That's funny.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
Any other Wyrmspan news that you saw? I watched reviews. I don't know if you watched any reviews, Robert.
I haven't really, no. I've watched a couple of Jamie's diaries that he put out with gameplay and stuff like that, but I haven't watched anybody else's content really.
It was cool because not only was it the video game or video YouTube content out there, but also the podcast side. What's the name of that podcast? Not Board Game Insider. You got me into it.
Yeah.
They got a copy of it.
I just listened to it today.
I know.
Ramblings or Decision Space. Or
Hot Topics.
something like that.
Oh man,
You go look it up.
I wanted to give. Yeah, I got to look it up because I wanted to give him credit. It's one of the podcasts that I do listen to. Board game. Okay, folks, this is making for
Makes
horrible
great content.
audio.
Horrible audio.
Board game hot takes. There it is.
Yeah, Board Game Hotcakes, yes.
Board games hot
Takes.
takes podcast. Board game hot takes podcast had a podcast about it, and they did a great review on it.
And that's a good. Sorry, go ahead. Finish.
It was good because they had a full spread in their host and their reviews. There was a nice wide spanning arc of opinions and ratings of Wyrmspan.
And I think that's an interesting podcast too, because they don't like they're even saying like, we played this game once or we just finished playing the game and they start recording and get their kind of like raw first impressions of it, which we kind of do that sometimes. Like when we play a game right before the show, we'll kind of say, here's our first impressions, but we want to wait for giving the full bean. So it's kind of like a good dichotomy of like, there are some content creators that play a game 6, 7, 8, 9 times before they do their review. And then these guys are they play it and then here's our hot take on it.
Yeah, and so many of the video content that I'm consuming regarding Wyrmspan is very planned, very organized. It's scripted, right? I don't want to make that sound negative because there is a place for that. There's definitely a place for that. But that is, there's one thing to say how I felt as soon as I played the game, and then there's another thing to say how I felt while writing the script, editing it, and then filming it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's nice getting their hot take.
I think so I've watched, I've watched all 10 of those videos and read a few things, and it seems to be pretty consistent with what my impression was going to be, is that if you like Wyrmspan, you're going to like this. If you like Wyrmspan but you think it's too light, you'll like this because it's heavier. It doesn't necessarily replace Wyrmspan for some people, so it's kind of like everyone thinks it's more complex, right? So there's the caves and digging out the caves, but they also like the fact that the resources are a little different. You don't collect the resources by the dice, so there's a little less randomization there. You're going to collect resources at certain points of time, and you're going to use money differently. So I think it kind of like fixes some of people's complaints about Wyrmspan, which is like that you just run the egg train at the end, or that you, that the dice can kind of screw you on food for
right.
production.
Rob, no dice for food.
Yeah,
that's right up Rob's alley.
I don't like dice.
You don't like dice until you like dice.
Yeah. Well, I just played a game of Wingspan where I got dice screwed. It's like I could not find a freaking fish for like the 2/3 of the game. It was like,
You just
can I
used
get fish?
Any 2 resources equal a fish.
There you go. Yeah, just spin them off.
Did
Yeah.
that MF and fish back in the MF and water?
Yeah, there you go.
Um,
That was a zebra. No, that was a giraffe.
it's going to be super popular. It's also going to be super polarizing because you have the grognards who want to just complain about Jamie and you know,
Cash
I
grab.
thought cash. Yeah, you know, what's funny is
If I
like,
hear that, that's gonna bug me.
I even thought of it initially, like when I first saw it, I'm like, oh man, it's just
My
a
first
spin-off.
thought. Just
First
put a
thought.
new paint and coat of paint on it, and yeah.
But then as you learn more, you go, no, and even if it was like, we didn't say the same thing about Brass when they came out with Birmingham. We didn't say the same thing about Terraforming Mars when they came out with the dice game and this game and Ares Expedition and we didn't, you know,
Or
so
I'm
like,
back here looking. It's behind me over
Century
here.
Golem.
Century Golem edition.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't say cash grab. I said
Right.
give it to me.
or
I didn't want the Mediterranean one with the ugly guy on the
Yeah.
front.
how many
I want the one
Azules-
that's rock golems.
how many Azules are there? How many Sagradas are there? You know, how many Gonchon Clevers are there? Like all these, like I could list 30 games that have multiple versions or multiple iterations. Pandemic, right? How
And
many?
more importantly, nobody's coming to your house to take your wingspan.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
No, listen to me. Listen. Nobody is coming to your house. They're not walking in your door, coming in and saying, "Give me back Wingspan. Wyrmspan is all we're playing now." Right? That's not going to happen. Right? Wingspan will still be a thing.
Yeah, people aren't saying that about Dune, right?
Yeah, I was going to
I
make
heard-
that comparison. Yeah.
Dune Imperium to Dune Imperium. What is
Uprising.
It? Uprising.
Yeah.
You know, so I just think, and I think we've talked about it before, is because Jamie is so open and transparent about his company and what it makes, and you know he's on social media, we hold him into a different standard than other companies.
You know what I love about how he's doing it, though? At the end of the day, he brings it up. He says, I got this game. It's coming out. And guess what, y'all? We're just now talking about it, and it'll be here like in just a
Pre-order.
couple of few weeks.
Yeah, pre-order on the 31st. You have it by March.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Great.
this is so much better to have that conversation than hey, did you see that new Kickstarter? Yeah, they're going to be out like 2 years from now.
I'm really surprised that other companies haven't, like, so, you know, Jamie did Kickstarter first and he was super successful with it with Viticulture and then Scythe. And then once he had all the money, he's like, I'm going to do this other model. And it's equally it's more, one could say it's more successful. I'm surprised more companies aren't doing this where like they come out with, you know, 1 million reviews, short time period, build a hype, pre-order, get your game in 3 weeks. Like, there has to be other companies with the facilities and the financial backing.
So the financial part of it has got to be big, and then I think a lot of them want to gauge the interest in it by running a Kickstarter and then waiting to see how important, you know, how many people are going to buy into this, how many copies am I going to need to print, you know, with what Jamie's doing, I think he needs more of a finished, at least a real nice prototype to be able to show. So I don't know. I think they're kind of using it for different purposes to some extent. So, but yeah, I see what you're saying. If the companies that are established that have the money to do it already, that could do it, yeah, I'm surprised a few of them aren't testing it that way. Yeah,
because I mean, certainly he builds hype. Like every game that comes out from Stonemaier Games is just pure hype.
yeah,
and it's warranted or not, right? I mean, yeah, I think he's. And the other thing too is like, I was thinking the other day is like, we are so hard on games, like nitpicky nowadays because there's so many games that come out and they're all so good.
Yeah.
5 years ago, Expeditions would have blown us all away, and we'd be like, "This is amazing."
Yeah.
And now we're like, "This is okay," right?
exactly.
It's a
Apiary.
7.5.
Yeah, Apiary would have been
7.5.
This is great, and now we're like, it's good. We like it. It's really, you know, so it's like, it's so hard to raise that bar. Like it's just so skewed in game production.
Competition's gone up. Yeah.
But I wanted to touch on what you said, Wayne, about the why not, right? The why not get out of the Kickstarter cycle, right? And I think it's the answer is in the question. You say, why don't other companies? The word is companies, right?
Yeah.
So there's Jamie, the man,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
is like, I'm making the decision for me. This is best. I'm gonna grind and
Yep.
put in the hours to put that work in. right? To be able to make a community, to build champions, to be transparent, all that stuff, right? That's Jamie, the person. A company says, "Oh, we got to pay somebody to be the media guy. We got to pay somebody to run it. We got to, you know what? Let's just let Kickstarter do all that, right?" So they're making a business decision at a what is it a 10 or 20% cost to go to Kickstarter?
I think it's 5. I think Kickstarter takes 5%. I think, depending on it also depends on the company and the size of the company. I think Chris Scafridi here hits it hard though. Is there is a fan loyalty to Stonemaier games.
Sure. Yeah, he knows that there's a certain base that's going to buy pretty much anything he puts out.
Yeah.
And so he can print X number of copies just based on that he knows that the last 5 games they put out, they've had this many people who are, I don't know, maybe even down to how many people have bought the last 5 games, especially the champions. I'm sure he knows the names, and they can print a list of this champion's bought my last 4, this champion's bought the last 3, this one's bought the last 5, and you can start banking. All right, I know I've got 20,000.
I got Carlos.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to buy it.
He's going to buy a copy of this game.
I think
he's going to tell like 5 people.
Yeah. I think Jamie himself or somebody he knows very close is really good at data analytics.
Oh yeah,
right. And he knows, like he or someone that works for him is really good at determining this kind of data. And I think that's what other game companies are missing too. And just like Daryl, taking away people's Wyrmspan, there goes your summer job. Dude, you live in Florida. You can't just go people's houses knocking on doors nowadays.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what's crazy though? I know we're on this Wyrmspan / Stonemaier topic that we somehow got onto again.
Always.
What's interesting to me is you talk about like who has the data analytic background that's really helping him with that, but then you think about Jamie's background. If you ever hear his background story, like where he came from, you watch that video. Yeah. The guy was like the office manager of a Catholic church. Like that was like his career. Like that's what he was doing. So it's much more community focused, right? People focused than it was like data. I would imagine data analytic wise. I don't know if the Catholic Church is like running data analytics.
I don't know. They're a major company. They're one of the richest corporations in the world, man.
Yeah.
The Krugers have used 5 loaves of communion bread this past quarter.
Yeah, they know their numbers. Yeah,
they keep track of all that.
The amount of land they own around the world. Come on.
Mm-hmm. A bag of silver pieces. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
They're like the largest landowner in New York City.
Yeah, you're right. There's got to be a lot of management involved there, and then from there into game design.
Yeah,
game designing company. So Wyrmspan is coming out. That's hot. That's in the news. Yeah. Any other news topics that y'all can think of for the folks at home?
I really haven't heard much. It's kind of a slow news time.
It kind of is, yeah.
Everybody's come off of the conventions. Convention season's kind of over now for a little while. Convention season now seems like it's almost year-round. So before we know it, we're coming up on Dice Tower West, and they just keep coming. Dice Tower Cruise just ended. So, yeah, there's always something going on, I guess.
All right, well, let's open up the phone lines. 813-618-7099 is the number. Phone lines open. This is where you take over the show. You bring your topics du jour to us, and you become the host for 10 minutes. So if you ever want to host your own game show, or board game show, that is, call in. 813-618-7099 is the number. We hope to hear from you soon.
Until then.
Speaking of that, Chris Scafidi in the chat, our man Chris Scafidi, looks like his last game or book is beginning to deliver.
Trying to pull it up here, yeah. In the news, we had it on our Discord. People were showing pictures of the game arriving. Where is it here?
Our man, Edmund England in chat. Hello, Edmund, all the way from Sweden.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Then we got Chester Wilson in the chat. Chester says Champions of Wingard. I could go for that. Liquid Snake in the chat says Mantic had a 6-month cycle for Dungeon Saga. And he continues with Liquid Snake says, and that was a game that had nearly 100 minifigs plus a terrain pack. 2 years is just insane and should be rewarded, or should not be rewarded. So I think he's talking about how fast things cycle through.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to take what you've already bought when new stuff comes out. Although we as gamers tend to feel that way. Oh, here's Chris's game.
What lies beneath?
What lies beneath? Chris Graffiti in the chat. It is beginning to deliver. It is the choose your own adventure styled like solo dungeon crawl with more mechanisms than like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what people think of it.
Yeah, what the reviews are. So somebody's got to call in once they get it played and give us the beans on the new Graffiti product.
And Ron is in the chat. Ron says Watergate on BGG. We had mentioned Watergate a little earlier.
BGA, yeah.
BGA.
Yep.
So Wayne had just shared that there is Watergate on BGA.
I didn't realize it was on there either, but
Yeah. On there.
Oh, Ron, I think you were trying to call, and I was busy pushing buttons.
Oh,
Totally missed.
try again, Ron. Sorry.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking for that's a game that I've been looking to learn how to play. So if I'm down.
Pretty straightforward, pretty simple from what I'm picking up so far. I haven't gone through all the cards or anything yet, so I'm sure there's some things in there to twist it up. But
Someone tell Carlos to open the line.
oh, it's
Hey,
open. He
Carlos,
just doesn't.
open
Just
up
can't
the
answer.
line, man.
He just can't answer the phone. There it is.
I fixed it, Ron. I fixed it.
Apparently.
Welcome to the
Good
show.
evening.
Ron Frazier.
How's it going, guys?
Doing good. Doing it. How's everything out in hot Atlanta?
It is warmer than it has been.
Good.
Yeah, that's not saying much because it was cold everywhere. So when it was like 14 here, what was the temperature like down there in Tampa?
Oh, we were hitting the upper 40s. I mean,
No, we hit upper 30s. There was
Did we?
one night that got down to like 38,
what was I say about 40 maybe?
38,
yeah.
39,
Yeah.
and then after that it's in the 40s. But now it's like highs of 86,
Today
87.
we hit 85, I think. Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah.
We are
living the dream.
our Florida weather is just like schizophrenic.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it just
Yeah.
cannot figure out what it wants to be.
Yeah, this
No,
time
we
of
had,
year, it's up and down.
Yeah, my kid had a soccer game on Saturday morning at like 9 a.m. and it was like 40 degrees, 39, 38, and good Lord, those little kids were freezing.
Yeah, that was the coldest we got. My kid was camping out over at Daytona Beach across the state, and I think they hit upper 30s over there. So, yep.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to talk about Wyrmspan and the way that Stegmeyer and Stonemeyer are doing business.
Okay.
One thing, Jamie gets a lot of hate because it's the internet, and that's just the age that we're in. Like, no matter how good or virtuous that you are, there's going to be criticism, right? And when Jamie has made mistakes and messed up, and he has apologized for it and made amends, made efforts to make amends, it still has not been sufficient for some folks. But that's just the age that we live in.
Yep.
Right. So what I'm seeing is, a guy who is, he has investors and everything like that. I'm seeing a guy in a company that's trying to do the right thing. Like, if you, as a gamer, was trying to run a business in this hobby, what is the line? What's that line, that standard, right? And he's trying to live according to what will be largely considered a gold standard in this, in this industry. Now he's been fortunate in that the games that he's designed or has published, there have been more hits than misses, and some of them really bangers, right? One of my previous conversations about the Stonemeyer games are it seems like everybody has a favorite, right? But everybody has a different favorite, but just about all of them are good.
Right. Well, I think of the Dice Tower top 100 list, the People's Choice there were two of the top, was it top 5 or top 10? I think it was top 5 were Stonemeyer games. It was definitely top 10.
Right. For some of you guys, it's Viticulture, Castle of Burgundy, I've expressed before, although I don't feel like the greatest at it, Wyrmspan was that game for me. So yeah.
You brought up a great point about the standard he lives by, right? So knowing that, and I can't say whether he currently is an active Catholic or not. I know that he left that job. I don't know what that means about his faith, but in my faith, in our faith, in the Catholic faith, do unto others, right? It's in Luke, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, right? That's a big part of it. That there, if you really deep into that, that isn't like treat others how they treat you, right? It's not give to them what they give to you. So if they treat you good, you treat them good. It's like a step beyond that.
The way you want to be treated.
It's treat others the way you want to be treated, even though they may not be treating you that way. And I see him living by that standard. Like that, others, like you said, Ron, he will apologize. He will try to make amends, and they will still continue to knock him down.
Yeah.
Me, I'm fallen, bro. My God is a God of redemption. Okay, He comes for the sick, not the healthy. I'm the sick. I would be like, oh, I'm sorry, guys, I messed that up. And if they keep at me, I'd be like, you know what? Screw you, bro. That's it. I'm done. Like I would get mad and I would throw back, but he doesn't. Like he continues to maintain that gold standard. So I got to acknowledge that and give props to that. So great point, Ron.
Yeah. These years ago, I recall hearing him speak on a podcast about how he takes the concept of the 5 love languages and applies them to his business. And if you folks don't know what the 5 love languages are, it is that a Christian writer wrote a book talking about basically there are 5 main ways that people express their love and appreciation for people. Words of affirmation, physical touch,
That's one. There's 2.
Step up, all that kind of stuff.
Service.
Yes, right.
Acts of service.
Gifts.
What's that?
And quality time.
Time. Yep. And people will speak differently than they receive, right? So they might speak a language, but receive in a different language. So it's hard. That's cool that he's gone. Wow, Ron, we taking this philosophical on your segment of the show. I'm loving this. You're right there.
Yeah, and the thing is that I had to call because it just got me to thinking about this, right? Like once again, we have Wyrmspan, its release is imminent, and we're having the same conversation, right? Like
same conversation we had when Expeditions came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apiary and
Apiary most recently.
Yeah. Yeah. So now to speak on the decision to make 100,000 copies, I'm sure that decision was not made lightly either.
Sure.
There's no way that he's just going to throw out, a print run 5 times greater than.
But brother, I really think that had to do with all the blast that he got from Wyrmspan. Right, because I think of...
Although how many games has he had in between now and then, and he hasn't printed 100,000 copies? Is it just because it's Wyrmspan?
Because it's Wyrmspan.
Yeah.
I think he's probably... I don't know, you have to look, but like some of the other games have probably hit 100,000 copies, but not in one print run. Right? Or Expeditions and Apiary come out quick enough where, I mean, those print runs could be 20, 30, 40,000, which is still twice as much or 3 times as much as most print runs are. But I think, what does Wyrmspan have? 1.5 or 2 million copies or something like that? So 100,000 is just 10%. He's printed 10% of the total volume of Wyrmspan.
But now he has established relationships with Target and Walmart.
It's 10% maximum. And then, like Carlos said, he has established relationships with these big box retailers. So, will he push 100,000 copies? I'm willing to bet that if he thinks he is,
and I think Barnes and Noble too, right? Is it just me, or have we seen Wyrmspan at Barnes and Noble?
For sure.
Oh yeah, it's all over the place.
Those are 3 major retailers that he can store all this supply at.
He's got Tapestry at Barnes and Noble. He's got several games at Barnes and Noble. Yeah.
So that's 3 major retailers right there. He can throw. He doesn't have to warehouse 100,000 copies himself.
Right. So I think because when we're thinking about board game, board game print runs and everything like that. And Wayne talked about it so eloquently, which typically a company might run a 5,000 print run, right?
Achievement for Wayne.
Eloquently
for a 2,000 order, and that would can be considered a success in most circles. But with him, with all the data, he has the newsletter, he has the champions, he has all the sales data, he has these big box store obligations, which I'm sure Target's not going to order 2,000 copies of a game. So yeah, I would be really interested to see what the sales numbers look like a year from now on Wyrmspan. Because one thing for sure, and I already told you guys I'm getting that, right? Like, I haven't bought a board game. I haven't bought an actual board game in months. But I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'll be definitely something to watch. I mean, every time Stonemaier comes out with a new release, it draws attention, if nothing else. So he's always going to have haters. Anytime you have somebody who's successful, who gets to be a big name, you're always going to have people looking for a reason to tear him down. And I guess none of us know Jamie super personally. Obviously, Carlos and I have met him a couple of times. We've had tacos on the porch with him, and we've had some quality time, kind of talking to him on the side. Played a game or two with him. But we don't know the guy personally. We don't know what he does in his home and that kind of stuff. But from what we know of him, he's very much sincere. He's very much genuine in the way he talks and the way he treats people. And Carlos, again, knows a little bit more about his faith and things. And so he seems to come from a good place.
Yeah, that's certainly true.
Yeah,
certainly true. One last thing you were talking about like conventions, right? Like how it's year round. Well, Tantrum Town is this weekend, gentlemen. Like, as an example, like that's going on.
I think Bonacor is a guest of honor there. Bonacor?
Yeah.
Yes, Bonacor is there, exactly.
He enjoys that.
Yeah, and so, right, it's year round, man. Like, how do you decide where to go? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Tantrum Town this weekend.
Nice.
And then we just kind of get into it. I'm not going, but I just thought I'd point that out. Like,
it's one that seems. I think Jim Jodak, Jim Odak, thank you.
Yeah.
He went last year, and he said it was okay. It was kind of like a Dice Tower Easty type feel, but like to sort of travel to North Carolina for it. I don't know if with all the conventions we have here in Florida, if it's necessarily worth it or not, but seemed pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. For you guys, so for me, it's closer. Like,
yeah. A little bit of a trip for us.
Yeah, I am most likely going to go one of these years. It's just when
they seem like a great bunch. They definitely seem like a great bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it was funny is the one guy from there, the Kevin Delp, from the Tantrum Con, like you know even Facebook. Well, you're on Facebook and you get like friend requests of like, hey, do you know this person? Because a million people. So I keep getting him as a friend.
Yep.
Oh, really?
But it has nothing to do with board game related. He must have worked in the same profession as me because like he has like 60 friends in common with me that are like from my profession. So it's like, okay, yeah, he must have worked in higher ed or something. So
interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah,
that's cool.
Very interesting. Well, that's all I got, Jim. I hope you guys continue to enjoy your nice mild winter weather.
85 today.
82 degree, 85, 82.
Yes.
Yeah,
Next week's supposed to be, I think highs are in the 60s. Our nights are supposed to get cold again. So, yeah. A little more like winter.
Yeah.
It's always good to hear from you, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah,
a little more like winter.
A little more like winter. Yeah, we don't have winter here, but it's a little more like winter. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
All right, Ron. Have a good evening.
See you, Ron. God
Appreciate
bless
you calling as always.
All right. Take it easy.
I'm actually okay with the weather. I'm heading to Daytona this weekend.
Okay.
For the 24-hour race.
Roar 20.
We're not camping.
Or it is the 24 hours a day.
24-hour.
Last weekend was the Roar before the 24.
Yep, the Roar before. Oh,
my son
so
went
cool.
too. Yeah.
Oh, he went?
Oh, yeah. The Scouts go every
They
year.
still did the camping?
It's his 4th year. Yeah.
But the weather's supposed to be nice and fair. Usually it's either freezing cold or raining. This week, I think it'll be light sprinkles with normal weather. So weather being what it is, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. Nice.
Let's see. We talked Wyrmspan. We talked Chris Scafidi.
Yeah, we had some comments up there.
Phone lines open. 813-618-7099 is the number.
Oh, I was going to say Edmund.
Edmund had big
Edmund.
news.
So I don't have any clue. Jonkoping? He said he's going to a small con in Jonkoping called WetCon, where I will meet game designers for a sub-event where I will test my game loading ships. Very cool. Okay. So Edmund's, did we know that Edmund was designing a game?
He mentioned last week in the show, we were talking about, it may have been the week before last, we were talking about Mike it was week before last because Mike was saying it.
Okay.
He met a rules writer, a person who authors rules out at OrcaCon, and that interested Edmund because he thought that would be an interesting guest. And that's when he mentioned he's working on a rule set as well.
Nice.
And how difficult it is to write rules. So I think that was the first mention we ever had of him talking about working in game design.
Speaking of that particular topic, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but we are looking at lining up an interview with someone on the show, hopefully the next couple of weeks, that is a rule book writer.
That's the same rule book writer we're talking about.
That's the one. Okay, cool. So we're looking to have them on the show. So if you have questions about people who write rule books, I guess your criticisms and your comments and your questions, start writing those down. Start saving them up here. Like I said, hopefully the next couple of weeks we're going to have that person on. So looking forward to that.
Yep. So I did a Google Translate.
One?
Yeah, did a Google Translate. Young. It sounds like that should be pronounced Young Shopping.
Young Shopping. Okay.
Yeah.
I said Young Coping. So
yeah.
Okay.
The K is like a CH sound, like Young
Cool.
Shopping.
Young Shopping.
At least Google Translate said that. Let's see if Edmund agrees.
Edmund says been working on the game more than 3 years. 2 steps forward and 2 steps back.
Okay, so. Paul Abdul.
Yeah. 1 step forward.
Well, I wish you the best, Edmund. I don't know if you do long distance, like TTS type, demos.
Oh,
that's what I'm looking
online.
for.
Yeah,
we've done that before with other folks. Tabletop Simulator.
So
I don't know if you have something like that. If you do, reach out. Let us know.
Yeah.
If you ever want to, Edmund, be on the show. I know it's like 5 in the morning, 3 in the morning.
Yeah, it's probably
over there.
9, 8, 7. Yeah, probably about 6. Yeah, in the morning, 5, 6 in the morning.
If you ever want to get either on the front end or the back end of the show to pop in and talk, we'd love to have you.
Nice.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Chris Cafidi.
Hey,
Oregon.
How are you, Chris?
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Doing pretty good.
We are well.
Let me mute you guys on the radio there. Otherwise, you're going to get feedback.
Oh yeah, I don't want that loop.
Isn't that cool? Like that's a throwback. Like,
whack, 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 whack.
Yeah, we just don't need that, right?
No.
Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I've been missing your last few shows recently because I was traveling. I visited family, so now I'm back in the saddle.
Well, good. Well, you can always go back and catch up. Of course, they're all on the tubes, and the audio version's always there on the podcast of choice. So yeah.
Yeah, I will. I sometimes listen to you guys when I'm just sitting there and doing digital painting.
Cool. Appreciate that.
I can't believe we're not like completely distracting you or ticking you off in your Zen moment.
Well, he didn't say he wasn't throwing stuff or.
It's very angry.
No. If I throw in anything, it's because I can't get something to look the way I want when I'm painting it.
That's why I don't paint.
Chris, I took like 5 minutes to try to learn to draw because I have this
learn to draw.
This Kindle Scribe with the Wacom pen, right? It's getting all these updates, ability to draw, like they're selling it as part of a feature. And I'm like, you know what? I should try to learn how to draw. Chris said it wasn't too bad. Brother, 5 minutes I was done. Like I can't get anything to look like I want it to look like. This.
Well, I don't know why you think you could do it in 5 minutes. I didn't mean it was that easy. It took me 5 years, and I'm still not really good.
So easy, a caveman could do it.
I tried to draw like a room. Like I'm just gonna like draw the room I'm in, And like, what is this?
Yeah.
Ends up
So
with
mad props.
figures and
Okay.
Achievement to Chris for teaching himself how to draw.
Oh, I didn't teach myself. I've taken tons of classes.
There you go.
I practice on my own. I mean, it's like anything. If you want to get good at it, you have to be the one to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah.
But in the end, you're learning from people who know more than you do. Like I've had art teachers staring over my shoulders and be like, you're holding the pen the wrong way. And then later on, it'd be like, that's totally out of perspective. Don't you notice where the vanishing point is? But I now notice mistakes even on other people's work now. Like, I use that art from Jenny Nystrom for Tompton, which incidentally is coming out this autumn. It'll be delivered in time for Christmas. But anyway, I was looking at her stuff, and like there's this one painting. I've been looking at it for years because I've been working on this game. And I'm like, that painting has 3 focal, vanishing points ahead of me. And I'm like, I got to fix that. So I had to fix her painting. So, I don't know everything yet. I'm kind of to the point where I can fix stuff, but I'm not really good at doing an entire scene all on my own. And honestly, AI art is going to be a godsend because it can do a lot of that stuff, and then I can fix it up. And I'll still end up spending a couple hours fixing it up, but it'll be much better than what I would have gotten if I had done it myself from scratch.
Okay. Touched on a controversial topic, and one we've talked about on the show several times, the whole AI art thing. But yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of that controversy is because the AIs were trained on people's art without their permission.
Right.
And that's going to go away. I mean, mostly I use Firefly now, Adobe's product, and it's because they only trained it on art that was specifically and explicitly licensed to Adobe for that purpose.
Nice.
So it takes away this, you're stealing my art thing. It still kind of is like, you're cheating because you're using an automated tool. But I'm sure people complained about power tools when people started using power tools compared to hand tools to make craftsmanship. So
Said the Amish.
That's not a new thing. Yeah, I mean,
you're cheating.
Honestly, there is something to be said for being able to carve a table by hand.
Yeah.
But most of us don't have that luxury.
People will pay for that. Yeah.
People will pay for that. That is absolutely true. And there's a place for it, but that doesn't mean it's going to be the norm.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, I put 2 links in the Discord that I wanted to bring up, and I'm not really taking, I didn't bring it up from a judgmental standpoint, but I thought it'd be interesting things just to share. One is that I read an article, it was written in November, but I didn't see it until recently. Asmodee has been making 25% year over year. The 2023 results were 25% higher than the year before. And I had been kind of worried. Occasionally we hear about smaller manufacturers or smaller publishers going out of business. And even I think Board Game Co. went out of business last year, one of the online retailers. And so I've kind of been worried a little bit, what's the market going to be looking like? But the success of Asmodee and the success of Stonemaier and success of some other companies that seem to be doing well suggests to me that it's just a period and some companies will make it through and maybe there'll be some consolidation, but it's not all about to crater. So that was reassuring to me.
Sure.
I was glad to see that.
You mentioned that because of the Embracer Group losses, and the firings of people. I kind of felt the way you did. This is it. It's over, guys. This is it. It was fun. Yay. But hearing this and seeing this article you're talking about makes me feel like, okay, gaming-wise, I think we'll be okay. Board gaming-wise, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, just a little bit of reorganization period here, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to judge one or the other because there's a lot of people who hate Asmodee for various reasons, and particularly publishers. And I think it's kind of you're a small dinosaur and suddenly there's this T-Rex coming on the scene and you're a little nervous. And he isn't in the habit of eating smaller companies, but yes, he is. So, I think that people kind of have to have their guard up, but I wouldn't automatically say it's a bad thing because the industry is growing overall, which takes me to my second article. So they did a survey, and this was a British survey, but I think it probably applies more broadly to the Western world. And a lot of us know that tabletop gaming kind of surged during the pandemic and the lockdowns. And one thing I had been wondering is whether or not that was going to be a durable long-term change. And this survey seems to indicate that to a certain extent it actually is. It's still up 37% over pre-COVID levels. So that's good for all of us also who are in the industry, because people means more people to play with and more interest from publishers who will make us more games so we can keep on playing. So go team.
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to share that good news with you. I don't know if it's going to continue. Like I said, I don't want to judge, but it gave me some reasons for hope.
Yeah, it's always hard to gauge when we're so close to it. You know, when we're, I don't know if Carlos and I would consider ourselves part of the industry like you are. I mean, you're a designer, you're out there doing the hustle. It's a full-time thing for you. We do this just for fun on the side, and you know, we try to keep up to speed, but we don't spend a significant amount of time outside of outside of the show and doing a little bit of research here and there on this kind of stuff. So it's hard to tell, but it definitely seems to me, I know my kids, and again, that's going to be biased because they're my kids and I'm a gamer and I've taught them games from a fairly early age, but they talk about now how they're introducing their friends to games, and their friends are very receptive to it. When we were kids, I mean, come on, board games, if you there was a very small niche group, you know, the nerds and stuff like that would get together and play games in the basements, or that kind of stuff, whether we're talking D&D, whether we're talking mass market Monopoly or whatever. It was every now and then family would have a game night, but it wasn't different, diverse groups of people getting together to play games. And I think we're seeing more and more of that. And as we go to conventions, as we go to game days, we were just at the Tampa Gaming Guild for a game day and a flea market this weekend. You're seeing a broader variety in the types of people who are coming out, who are playing games, more younger ages than I think it used to be. So it just feels like, I mean, your data is proving that out. So what, 37% more than pre-COVID? I mean, the data is proving that out, but it feels like it's definitely a growing thing.
Yeah, I agree. I am very encouraged by it.
Yeah.
And I think when I was a kid, to a certain extent, it was, why would we sit and play a board game indoors when we could be outside running around the city?
Yep.
And, that's not an option for a lot of kids these days because it's so dangerous out there, or their parents think it's dangerous out there. And things change, and I don't know if that's a bad thing, but it is what it is. And I'm glad that a lot of people are getting together and making friends with board games.
Yeah.
It's still like the whole industry is still, I think, only 1/10 as large as video gaming. So I don't want to paint too rosy a picture, but I personally found these data particularly encouraging.
Yeah. But I also think there's a big trend of people desiring the analog, right? So the younger kids, the teens, the college age, right? They may be all into the digital, like that's their thing. But then there's like this moment when you want to, you want to revert back to analog.
I was going to jump on that. Chris stating that the kids, we used to want to play outside. We used to want to run around and do things. I wonder how much video games, I think, hooked the kids initially, and that brought them indoors. That brought them not seeking the outdoor, that interaction. But then now I think board games, like Carlos was mentioning, after a certain amount of video games and electronics and the iPads and all that kind of stuff, I think some
iPad generation that we're seeing now
are finding that even though they still want that in their life, they're looking for an analog, a social way to be in the same room with somebody, to play a game. And again, I think they're not going outside to do that. They've already been hooked. They're already inside on their computers and things playing games. But now board games, if you can get people to your house, they don't want to do the outside.
This is the excuse.
Right.
To get the humans
to have
around your table.
A physical interaction, yeah.
I think that I have two quick comments there. Is I think, we always think back when I was a kid, but like the moment
when I was a boy.
Yeah, the moment a kid on our block, the moment I got a Commodore 64, or the moment somebody in our neighborhood got the Nintendo, we weren't going out to play.
Yeah,
we were playing Duck Hunt for 10 hours or Mario Brothers for 10 hours, right? But we still would go out to play. But so I have a 9-year-old, and in our neighborhood here, there's 8 or 9 kids. They're all about the same age, and on a weekend or after school, they'll get together and they'll all take their iPads or their Switches and they'll be playing Fortnite or whatever. They'll do that for like an hour or so, and then they'll kind of self-select, and I'll look out my window and see them out playing basketball or playing. They play Foursquare, like a little bouncy ball game or whatever. So like they're kind of balanced, at least what I've seen amongst the young kids these days. Like my son and his friends, they'll go play Fortnite for an hour or two, but they'll kind of be like, after like an hour, they're like, hey, let's go play basketball for a bit, or let's go to the park for a bit, and then come back and play again. And they kind of bounce between the two, and I feel like they're even better than I was at a balance of go outside to play and whatever. Because as soon as I got a computer, man, like I was all into it, right? And good Lord, when I was a teenager, EverQuest came out. I almost, failed out of college and high school because of that, type thing. So I don't know. I'm encouraged a little bit about the younger kids because I feel like they also want to get out and do stuff, and so it's kind of a balance there, I think. And I've seen my son teach some of his friends. Like, he hasn't taught him any complex games yet, but he's bust out like crossbows and catapults and like some of the other party type games, Hughes and Q's or whatever. And they're kind of into it. So I could see like maybe a year or two from now, we'll start busting out some more complex games with his friends. So
nice.
Hope for the future.
Hope for the future.
And more analog.
Anyway, thanks guys very much.
Which got us on this conversation, which was your book that came out, your game book that came out. The analog coming out. So, let the folks home know where to find it. Yeah, let the folks know how to reach you on that.
Okay. ferventworkshop.com. And I'll put it in the chat. So people can email me about any of those games on there, and I'll sell them. I got to set up my retail on my website soon.
All right, I'm going to reach out to you as well. We want a copy for this table, just like we have a copy of the Gnome Gardener game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to get you one. I've got the Dungeon Maker Deluxe coming. Oh, man, have you seen the new boards for Dungeon Maker Deluxe? Oh my God, it is like, I've mostly used prototyping services in the United States, and this is the first game that I've had produced in China. And like, I was no holds barred in terms of the board quality, and they are so good. I was just amazed. I was kind of like, China, low quality, yada, 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 but it actually is really good. They make some really good stuff. So that'll be coming in on the boat in February.
Nice.
Maybe I'll call you or email you and just set up a time to go on your show if you want to see some stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, that's going to be a fun one. The roll and write / flip and write / X and write.
Yeah.
Dungeon crawler, polyomino style.
Yeah,
that's going to be fun.
You're always welcome here to come and sell the game. That's not a problem.
Well, I'll do that. That one, I think that one is. It's definitely in my top 5 games that I enjoy now. And I mean like all my games that even from other publishers. I don't know if it's my favorite game ever. I think Scythe is probably still my favorite game ever. And Tapestry is right up there. But
I thought it was Brass Birmingham.
No.
Not quite.
No. I mean, that was a good game, but it's complicated.
We had a good play.
Yeah, we did have a good play. That was one play. All right, guys, I got to get going.
Good night. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for calling, having me on.
Chris Cafidi of Fervent Games just had his book published and starting to deliver. It's the Choose Your Own Adventure style dungeon crawl game. Jim Odak was sharing pictures of that. Glad he called.
Yeah,
Chris, cool guy. Chris, cool guy. Phone line's open. 813-618-7099 is the number. Speaking of books. Speaking of books.
What you got over there?
What's you got?
Got something under the table.
Yeah, watch out now.
Yeah. Yes, we've got this last week. Yeah,
we did.
We're going to try to touch on this.
We got books. Books. So, Rob, this book here, I got 2 books mailed to us.
Yeah.
So I'm going to send one your way.
Okay.
Because we need to read through these and kind of get this thing going.
Yeah, sounds
cool. But there's your copy.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks.
I received an email from Don Eskridge of Avalon / The Resistance fame, designer of the Resistance board game.
Nice.
And he put me on to this project that he had. He was curious to see if we wanted a couple copies of the book to learn. It is a project that he did during COVID. During the lockdowns of COVID, they were coming up with different hand games. I'm going to leave that for the 10 o'clock hour.
Hand games.
For y'all to crack jokes on that.
You got 5 minutes.
All right, 5 minutes. Line them up.
So similar to Rochambeau, a.k.a. Paper, Scissors, Rocks, those type of hand games. Games that can be played using your hands. So there's 21 different games in this book of different varieties, different player counts, different styles, hit and roll, bluffing, attacking. all different types of games that he wrote in here, and I've been reading through these. Came out with this book, and it's on Amazon right now. Hand games, 21 hand games by Don Eskridge.
4 minutes.
Just wait, counting down.
As an example of one of the games that I'm like really interested in, there's a tank game in here, Robert.
Tanking.
A tank. Everybody gets a tank. So you get your hand, and you put your hand on the table, right? And then everyone gets to maneuver their tank by using their palm as a pivot, and then the palm, the wrist and the palm are pivot points that you could use to maneuver with your eyes closed. And then you stick your finger out, and that's your barrel, right? And it's almost like a robot rally. Rally robot? What's the one you taught us, Wayne?
Robo Rally.
Like that, Robo Rally. You're going to have when everyone opens their eyes, you're going to have a laser fire out of your finger. And if it aims at someone else's tank, they take a wound. When they take a wound, they get to add a second barrel. So they have 2 damage, but they get 2 barrels now. So every finger that sticks up is a barrel facing another way. Then everybody closes their eyes, they maneuver their hands, then they open their eyes to see what they're firing at, looking at the fingers as like lasers firing out. Whatever they hit takes damage. I think on your 5th hit, you're dead, right? So, but the more damage you take, the more damage you're doing. So you're like getting hit. It's interesting the way they came up with these different games. That's one of the games that they came up with. There's others in there, but I think the most interesting part about this, and we're going to enjoy, because he said he's willing to join us on the show.
Okay.
So designer of Resistance and Avalon is willing to join us on the show to talk about it.
Cool.
So once we get some of these games played, we can have a real good conversation.
All right.
But the artwork.
The artwork, it's pretty cool in here.
It is, Wayne, it's so cool because in this book, he takes, let me see if I can get a better view. Change that camera. Try that again. And there we go. Okay. In this book, he's got every game is just a 2-pager, but every 2-page spread is like completely different art and style. So it's not just art, but like artistic style. So some of these art looks like art from freelancers. Some of it looks like Roots. Some of it looks like anime. Like everything has just this gorgeous style to it. Really interesting on the dedication they could have just made a book, right? And with text and had it, but they went and gave every single game its own theme, its own different style of art, which is very interesting. It's had me flipping through this. My son asked me if he can keep that copy. I said no. Rob's going to take that copy so we can learn together. We'll have one here at the House Cabrera. They'll have one there at House Childers.
Cool.
But yeah, there you go. There's something that we're going to be getting on to.
21 hand games, 21 hand games. Yeah, Don Eskridge. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. Let's learn these and play them. And these are, it looks like they got multiplayer versions of games here. They've got, it says 2 to 8 players, 5 minutes plus, ages 8 and up. Okay.
Every game is different. So some games are just 2-player games. Some games are 3 or more.
Okay. So they go up to 8, I guess, in this book. But I see one here 3 to 6, one's 2-player only, 2 to 8. Okay, cool.
So very interesting.
Cool. That'll be fun.
That's just cool that happened.
Yeah.
Like, when he sent me that email, hey, this is Don Eskridge. I made a game called Resistance and Avalon. Not sure if you heard of it.
Ever heard of it? Yeah.
My reply back was so squee.
Heck yeah.
It was so, it was like, OMG, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I can't believe you're reaching out to me right now.
Oh, yeah.
I was just telling my wife who it was reaching out to me, and we went down memory lane on every time we played the Resistance and all the different people we played. That was my email. Like, it was just this blurb of me just...
You got no chill, man. You got no chill.
You got all fanboy. Yeah. You gotta play that out.
And then he's like, glad to hear that.
Yeah. Weirdo.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Honey, lock the doors.
Don't contact me at this email ever again.
I let it all fly. Dude, I had so much fun. Like, the Resistance was such a big part of gaming for me.
Yeah.
Like, I think of all the people I've taught it to.
It's an early one you taught me and my wife, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the arguments that the family has had, inter-family arguments.
Sure.
You know, I still remember people cussing and yelling at each other. You effing spy.
We got to bust that out at a game day.
Yeah. Or at a Dice Tower or something. Yeah.
It's been a while
since I thought about that one.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Sweet.
Cool. All right, you got other goodies out of there?
Speaking of more review copies, Button Shy sent us a review copy.
Nice.
Designer Elizabeth Hargrave. Not sure if you heard of her. I don't know what she's done. No.
Tessie Muzzy.
This one is Picky Pixie.
Oh, okay.
Picky Pixie is a game for 3 to 8 players, 3 to 5 players, 2 to 5 players,
2 to 5. Okay.
2 to 5.
A weird
completely wrong. I'm completely
not
off.
even close.
2 to 5 players.
Worried, yeah.
In Picky Pixie, This is where I'm really going to need some help with this. 'Cause I was reading the rules about this one. One player will be the pixie. The other players will be the guessers. The pixie has these cards. Let me see if I can't get a good camera in here. The pixie has these cards with different types of flowers and different colors of flowers. But what's important about them is they're organized into different groupings. So there's different numbers and then groupings. And then the pixie is going to have two options up front in front of everyone. The pixie will decide which flower they want to eat. Of those, which flower they want to eat. Now, they're not going to try to get you to guess which flower they want to eat. They need you to guess which rule you created for that flower. So here's the tough part for me. So like if I had these two cards in front of me, I'd have to pick one of these groups. And of these groups that are in front of me, of these groups, one of them, I would have to say, okay, my flower is in that group. What rule could I give that group? I could say that group has an even number of flowers. That's my rule. Right, so now you all, as players, will start drawing and putting cards down to try to get me to give you yes or no's on does this card meet your rule? Mm-hmm. Right, so I will put on the board yes or no where you place that card to try to get you to come down to what that rule is. The rule could be, as an example, some of the rules are there is an odd number of types in that group, or there's an odd number of colors, or there are different colors in that group, or so you're creating a rule that everyone's trying to identify the rule, not the flower.
There's a game that's real similar to this with shapes and blocks. Somebody makes a shape, and then the other people have blocks, and they're putting them out, and they're trying to find out. The person who made the shape will give them a clue of a rule that works with the shape that they made. It doesn't necessarily, that shape's not right, but 2 in a row or 2 stacked or 3 high or something like that, and it gives them a clue as to where that's headed. So it sounds kind of similar. Definitely has a twist to it. So
and,
yeah,
and so the person with the rule, they're trying to get everyone to get to the rule. So you actually don't want to.
I want to run the deck out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before you find the rule.
Okay.
But do I have that? Like, the rules in my head, right? So how do I?
It's one of these 18-card games. So we already spent 2 cards on deciding the rule.
Honesty thing, honor thing. Yeah.
Which, speaking of honor, I mean, that's me. Anyway, phone line's open and a call's in. Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where you're calling from?
Oh, this is Liquid.
Oh, Liquid
Snake.
Hang on.
Hang on. Oh, he's got a thing for you. Hold on. He's trying to queue up the soundboard. He's trying to do too many things with it. There you go.
Is it that kind of snake?
Yes.
Yeah, Liquid Snake. Welcome to the show. Where are you out of?
Oh, Fort Myers.
Oh,
Okay.
Liquid Snake from Fort Myers. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I had actually made it up to the thrift sale at the Tampa Gaming Guild.
Nice.
And yeah, I made it through there that day. I didn't stick around. I didn't stick around and play any games. I was just there to purchase. And I ended up picking up a copy on a whim of a 2-player abstract game called That Time You Killed Me.
Oh, yeah.
The price was certainly right. It was only $20, and it was basically brand new. It was open, but nobody had touched it.
Nice.
And it's this, a 2-player abstract about traveling through time and assassinating the other player. The manual says murder several times. And
Pull it up.
it has all these legacy elements. Like you master the base game, and then you open up a box, and then it adds growing plants into the game.
Wow.
And the plants grow through the eras. You open up the second envelope, and the second envelope is statues. You could move statues around through the eras, and you can push them down on other players.
Now, if I'm right, this is the abstract game that has 2 boards, one representing representing different times, in the game. So here's what it looks like now. Here's what it looks like before I was alive, and
future in the past.
when you killed me, and you're trying to use that information of the future, present, and past to try to figure out who you killed you, right? Something like that.
Yes. Well, you're trying to destroy or capture the other player's pieces, right? And you can put other pieces on the board by time traveling. And when you go into the past, it makes a copy of yourself. And it does some really interesting things about time. The 3 arenas are past, present, and future. And when you open up the first envelope adds plants to the game. Well, if you plant a seed in one era, and the next era becomes a bush, and in the third era it becomes like a tree that you can push down on the other player.
Cool.
Well, so you have these these three separate boxes adding different pieces to the game, and then you have a fourth envelope, and in that envelope there are 11 or 12 other envelopes on top of it that add like scenarios, like legacy style scenarios to the game that you can play through. And the envelope is opened at certain times when like a player like achieves a specific thing using the rules that you've already been introduced to.
Sounds like kind of like Zombie Kids Evolution, where it's quasi legacy, but it's not. You can just play the game as is, or you could add in these other pieces as you accomplish missions and things. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought so too. I really like the Tampa Gaming Guild. I wish I would have stuck around, but I really didn't have the time or ability. I'd like to be able to go hang out there again in the future.
Yeah, very cool. I know Carlos and Wayne both made it for the flea market. There was a flea market from, it was like 2 to 4. It was a couple hours. And then after that, they cleaned up, and then they allowed people to stay in open game. I was planning to catch the end of the flea market. I didn't make it. I had some car trouble. So I got there right after they started the open gaming. So I would have missed you. But I know both Carlos and Wayne were there earlier. I don't know if y'all met up at all, or
yeah, if we crossed paths.
We did not cross paths.
Okay.
I had found out about your podcast afterwards.
Oh, okay.
When I came back home and I looked up the Tampa Gaming Guild Facebook site, and I saw your link there. Oh, cool. And I decided to subscribe to you from there.
Nice. That worked out.
Yeah, I'm glad they put us up. I didn't even know they'd put us up on their thing. So cool.
Yeah. Also, as far as the top, because I wrote down some notes here, the things that I wanted to bring up.
The show is yours. When you call in, it's yours.
Thank you. When you guys had mentioned Florida conventions, here in Fort Myers, there's a triannual no entry fee convention that is run by Joey from Dice Tower.
Oh, really?
And yes, the next one is in February. It's going to be a 2-day convention. It's going to be February 23rd and 24th. And it doesn't cost anything. It's free to entry and everything. They give people space to sell games if you have games for sale. And it's a really good community. The last time that they had run an event, there were about 120 people there, and the rest of the Dice Tower crew were there, including Tom.
Wow, nice.
So if you guys have a chance to make it to that event, I'd really suggest that you show up if you have the ability.
He said free to go?
Yeah, so it frees up my alley. Yeah. So it's just the drive. So it's a couple hours from Tampa.
Just the Gamers of the Gulf Coast. Is that the group?
Yes, Gamers of the Gulf Coast.
Nice.
Okay. And their next event should be the 24th. No, the 23rd and the 24th of February. Yeah, it's a Friday, Saturday.
Huh. Nice. Might make it down Saturday.
Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I might be scheduling my second eye surgery in February, so that'll depend on that a little bit. But yeah, it sounds like something I definitely would like to.
It's cool. Joey Evans hosts that.
Yeah.
What's the rub though? I know it's after 10 o'clock. I don't know if I can use that.
Yeah,
what's the rub? Like free? Like there's nothing free.
The space is there really is no catch. It's a really good group. There is no entry fee. There's no fee to sell games if you want to. There might be some food services there.
Sure.
And the space is provided by Joey's church.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
And the church is Anthem Church.
Nice.
So it's at Anthem Church?
It is at Anthem Church. The space is very large. There's tons of tables. There's certainly no lack of chair space there. And it's a really good group.
Nice.
That sounds interesting to me.
Yeah, definitely appealing to me. Yeah, like I say, just the cost of getting over there, the little car ride, it's just a couple hours from us from in here in Tampa. So definitely something I'm interested in.
Yeah, we'd all really love to have you guys there.
Cool.
The last thing that I want to touch upon I had talked about this a little bit in chat, is the whole Wyrmspan thing.
Sure.
You know, if anyone had purchased Wingspan in the past, you know, buying Wyrmspan is just a ridiculous decision because it's not going to be any different. It's going to be the same game, barring any minor changes that they might make. The company that publishes that, yeah, they're really consistent. They put out, you know, decent things. Wingspan's never been anything that I fell in love with or anything like that. It's certainly good as an entry level game, but I never really found it had any staying power for me.
Yeah, a lot of people feel it's on the light side. I mean, some of the expansions have mixed that up a little bit. So I don't know if you've played any of the expansions. They've got the 2-player mode now that people enjoy playing 2-player. But I think a lot of heavier, quote unquote, heavier gamers would probably agree with you that it was fun to play once or twice. I mean, if you're looking to bring people into the hobby, I certainly have introduced it to people who are new to gaming. And
I don't feel the same luck you've had with that, Robert.
Really? No,
I was gonna be contrarious to our friend Liquid here on the entry level too light. I was gonna say, are you watching a lot of Robert right now? Because that's Robert's saying
too light.
It's too light. And I think it's that experienced gamer trap. Liquid, I think it's the experienced gamer trap. We all fall into that trap that games are too light. But then I go and try to teach it to like non-gamers and like Wingspan. That's not like, hello, introduce me to gaming level.
So
there's a reason why non-gamers are non-gamers, because they don't want a game.
Yeah, could be a little bit. Yeah.
There are light gamers or family gamers or casual gamers that try to step it up, and Wingspan is a step up. Like
the truth is hard for me to accept sometimes. You're right, Liquid. There are reasons why non-gamers are non-gamers. Although sometimes I feel like anyone could be a gamer, but then I try to teach them Wingspan. And
when you think about it, so BGG is
it's a will issue. You like if you put any concept in front of a person and they don't want to learn it, they ain't going to learn it, no matter how learnable it is. You know, if someone doesn't want to learn a board game, they're not going to do it.
This reminds me of my experience of learning how to draw.
5 minutes.
5 minutes of it.
So when you think of BGG is a microcosm of the gaming community and probably skews to heavier, more complex gamers or experienced gamers or various things. And they've weighted Wingspan at 2.46, so basically a 2.5. So on a scale of 1 to 5,
I wouldn't even rate it that heavy.
Absolutely, it's that heavy.
I'm with Wayne on this one. I don't agree with the Robs and I guess the Liquids of the world.
It's a midweight. It's not a lightweight. This is a midweight game.
That's got to be like a 2.5.
Nah, man,
where
it's
you
like
set
a
it?
2.
I'd be closer to a 2 probably. 2,
I knew Robert would side with him.
2.1.
You got one friend
maybe,
here, Liquid.
So.
You got one friend.
Yeah, I mean, I've taught it to several people. Yeah.
It's. I mean, it's. I just we are. I'm a heavy gamer too, right? So, but I can. It's not that light a game. There's complex aspects to Wingspan that a light gamer is not going to get. It's not a light game. But even at a 2, you're still talking about it's not. That's not that lightweight.
Agree to disagree. I mean, it ain't no tic-tac-toe, but it's certainly not Eclipse.
Yeah.
The last thing I wanted to bring to your attention, guys. You guys were talking earlier about crowdfunding and like a 2-year turnaround time being, acceptable. Mantic earlier this year or earlier last year completely hit Dungeon Saga out of the park. I hit the button. Dungeon tiles included. It had, I think, 4 campaigns included. I mean, it's just huge. And they were able to do that in 6 months. I really hate crowdfunding games, and I haven't done it too often because I have gotten burned a couple of times. And sometimes I've gotten burned from established publishers.
Sure.
So it's just not something that I do anymore. But, I really think that the community and consumers should not look at a 2-year turnaround time as being acceptable. I just don't think it's acceptable because this is, crowdfunding campaigns have now become an integral part of these publishers' business plan. Whereas it's not just giving them the money to develop or publish the game itself, but it's also marketing for them too. It's doing multiple positive things for them. I understand why they do it, but I just don't like it as a consumer.
Yeah.
All right, he got me back on his side.
We've been there for a while, yeah. Well, Carlos and I have never been big on the whole.
I don't think we've done together.
Yeah.
More than a handful.
Yeah.
Of crowdsourcing.
Yeah, that's all Mike and me.
Yeah. We got a couple guys that are heavy into that. We'll let them do that, and
actually, I think that's Mike and I are talking in the next podcast. Our next podcast topic is going to be the Kickstarters that hit for us versus the Kickstarters that were disappointments, or like top 3 or 4 or whatever. So we're going to talk about that because
the audio podcast.
The audio podcast. I've probably done 50 or 60 or 70 Kickstarters, and I think Mike's got me beat. So
I'm all about the pre-order life, not the Kickstarter life.
Not the pay and wait. No, not into that. I'll
pay and wait, but I won't wait that long.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what scares me is just the uncertainty and and not know. And I know a lot of people who do it, and we've talked about this extensively, not recently, I guess, but the people who are heavy into it, you get so many of them that you have them arriving all the time, and it's like, so I know Nick Oben, who's just showed up in the chat, talks all the time. He was heavy. He had almost 100 games or over 100 games that he was kickstarting at one point, and so he's like, yeah, stuff's arriving all the time. He goes, his opinion on it was, I back a lot of stuff. I kind of pay and I forget about it, and then when it shows up in 12 months, 16 months, 18 months, it's a happy surprise. And he got to the point after a couple of months, stuff was rolling in all the time, and he enjoyed the surprise of, oh, hey, something just showed up at the doorstep. Let's go see what that is. Oh, that was the game I backed 12 months ago or 16 months ago. But that doesn't do it for me. That whole pay for it now and then experience it later, and then the uncertainty. I mean, again, I'm definitely a try first, try before I buy. I want to know that I'm going to like a game before I put money into it. Again, maybe I'm a penny pincher, whatever it is, but yeah, that's not for me.
Old man.
I'm kind of in the middle of that, right? So I was always, Rob, I'm like you, I'm a little bit more cautious about my spending. But when I back a Kickstarter project, I'm looking for the ones that. I'm not into the big box mini stuff, right? But I'm looking for the games that probably won't get made, or wouldn't get made if it wasn't for a small investment. So like I'll talk about one. It's probably my all-time best Kickstarter that I love that I backed. It was Clans of Caledonia, right? That's literally in the top 50 BGG games of all time.
Sure.
And it only ever got made because a couple of thousand people said, "Yeah, I'll buy it on Kickstarter," and it's getting ready to have a reprint and a new Kickstarter this year. So like I look for games like that where it's like a unique game that has a good playthrough already, things like that. So I'm kind of in between where you're at, Rob, and where like Nick and Mike might be, whereas they're backing a ton of stuff, and I'm
Wayne the philanthropist.
I'm looking for games that that look really cool that I don't think are gonna make. I mean, anything CMON makes is gonna get made regardless if it's on Kickstarter or not, or anything Tiny Epic or Gameland or even though I back a lot of those, or what's the other one, Queen Games. That's all getting made. You can find it retail. I'm not going to back those, right?
Well, let us know, Liquid, where can folks go to find out more about the upcoming convention in Fort Myers that's done by Joey Evans? Is there a website?
Oh, yes. I would recommend that people go to the Gamers of the Gulf Coast Facebook page. You can find all of the Fort Myers board gaming events listed on that page.
Cool.
All right. Gamers of the Gulf Coast Facebook page. They got a board game convention coming I believe you said the 23rd and 24th of February?
23rd and 24th of February. And the Saturday will definitely be an all day 12-hour 10 to 10 event. The Friday might be a 7 or an 8-hour event.
There you go,
So
folks.
hopefully
It's free to visit.
We will see you guys there.
Flea market
Yes,
there.
it's 100%. Yep, flea market. You can bring your own stuff for sale. There should be food for sale on site as well, and come and hang out with us, guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. A really good time.
Don't make this your last phone call.
Yeah, don't be a stranger. We
Yes.
appreciated the call.
Yeah,
Good, good stuff.
And I like the emotion and the assertiveness of the statements made. Like that, I've been missing that. We haven't had a lot of that. There's been a lot of conversation, but Liquid came in with statements like, "This is how it is. Buying Wyrmspan when you have Wingspan is absurd." I'm quoting that. So thank you. We appreciate your call.
And I just jumped on Facebook and signed up for the group. So yeah, I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hanging out with you guys. It's unfortunate that I didn't run into you when I was at the Tampa Gaming Guild, but perhaps we'll run into each other in the near future.
Yeah, and I'm sure when we do run into each other, there'll be a
one of those.
Have a good night.
All right. Thanks guys.
Night.
Good night.
Great call.
Very cool. First time caller.
Yeah, another first time caller. Loving it. 813-618-7099 is the number. Phone lines open. What do we got in the chats here? Apparently, I pushed the wrong button.
Oh,
the mouse has a back button.
Yeah,
is that what happened?
You don't click that when you're.
I didn't really.
What happened was, in private chat, you're like, "Did you kick us out of the room?" I'm like, all of a sudden, I'm like the only guy. My face is like giant in the screen. I'm like,
oh, Wayne took over the show.
Let's see in the chat.
Oh,
nope. Beans and Dice podcast. State your name and why you didn't just log into the show like you should be.
Oh, I know who that is.
This is Lorenzo from Portland, Oregon.
Hey, Mike. What's
Two
up?
calls from Oregon today. Long distance is going to be really expensive on that bill this month.
One mic, one game.
What? I'm here.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm deployed out here in Portland, man. So I don't have time to log in and do a whole show. But I just got back from grabbing groceries, and I put you guys on, and I just catch the tail end of you're talking about Kickstarter, so I figured I'd call in.
There's your cue. There's your cue.
His ears are burning.
Exactly what you're talking about, and how do I join this conversation?
Mm-hmm. Well, we know kind of where you stand, although you've reeled it back a bit, right?
Oh, drastically.
Big time. Yeah.
I say that as a new Garfield game.
Which one?
Storm Raiders.
Storm Raiders.
Storm Raiders.
That's right. Yeah.
That does look cool.
That one looks good, though. That one, I don't have a good. I really don't have a good pickup and delivery game, and I've been jonesing for something like that. And the way that I've watched a couple of playthroughs, like on Man vs. Meeple and one other channel, I can't remember, but I like the way it plays, and it plays quick. Where the what was that other one? That crazy one that had the crazy colors on the box. The
Wasteland Express.
Wasteland Express.
Yeah. That one I liked, but it kind of outstayed its welcome during the play.
Yeah, those games are long. Yeah, I played it a couple times.
Yeah, and from what I gather with Storm Raiders, it plays very quick.
Snappy.
So, yeah, and there's some good crunchy decisions to be made. So
it seems to kind of have that quasi last light where the storm is moving around, so it kind of pushes the board or the players around a bit. So it.
Yeah, so as the storm goes around, it's dropping materials and stuff that you can use, and if you get caught in it, then your vehicles get damaged. So it's probably not as drastic as Dune,
Sure.
where the storm is kind of going around, but it makes it interesting because the one mechanic that I was watching was so you're rolling a die for which way the storm goes. And if the lower the number, the more items it'll drop, as it goes through the path. But again, the storm can change direction, at the end of, I think it's at the end of the round or the beginning of the round, I can't remember. So you kind of have to, it's like this balancing act of, do I really want to go in for the more resources, being that close to the storm, or
push your luck?
So yeah, a little push your luck in there. There's a little bag grabbing, for dice and rolling, and
right.
I like chucking dice.
It's after 10 o'clock. Bag grabbing is allowed. Yeah.
Bag grabbing, yeah. I didn't say reach around or anything. My gosh.
Sorry. All right. Check and make sure it's after 10 o'clock. Yeah.
Is that one of the games in the hand game book?
Yeah. 21 hand games, the bag grabbing. Anyway, rolling right along. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And I call in, and this freaking show takes a nosedive, man.
Off the deep end. Yeah.
You're like a black hole for our morals. You show up.
So you've been working. Have you been playing any games at all? You just haven't had time?
I haven't had time.
Yeah.
I got back from vacation Monday, and then I pretty much left like the next day. There wasn't too much going on, and well, I shouldn't say that. There was more going on in Portland, and I got deployed out here. So I'm only out here for a week or so, and then I head back. But go ahead.
What about shops? Like visiting shops in there. Chris Caffidi's out there. Yeah. You could always ask him. What would be a must-see shop
if you have time.
I definitely could. The one stop I am making, though, on next Thursday.
Or go right to him and pick up your copy of the Dungeon Book.
There you go.
I know you're waiting for yours to deliver.
Maybe I should reach out to him because I know he got my copy. I don't know if he's mailed it yet, though. He might have already, but so because it was like a surprise vacation type of thing that happened last weekend. And of course, that was the weekend that Orange Nebula was doing their pickup day for the Unsettled expansions.
Yeah, last year you went to that, right?
Yeah, for the Vindication pickup.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So they were doing the thing for Unsettled. I'm like, oh, yeah, this is going to be great. I'm going to see all those guys again. And then this vacation happened right over that weekend. So I reached out to them. I sent them an email because they're right there in Vancouver. Like as soon as you cross over the state line going into Washington, I think their office is like right there. So I emailed them and asked them if it would be cool if I just came by and picked up, my stuff. And they said, yeah, absolutely. Just give us a time and
sweet.
You're more than welcome to come by and pick it up. So I may go into their offices and like kind of, who knows? I mean, they may just like crack the door open, throw it to me and, lock the door behind them. Right, exactly.
A small hole opens in the door.
that door opens, man. You stick your foot in. You wait till you get to
the got any goodies in there? Anything your prototype?
There you
come
go.
take a look.
I got a podcast. I have a podcast, by the way.
There you go. These beans and dice guys. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping, maybe they let me come in the front door and I can take a quick peek at Spirit Fire or something like that.
Sweet.
I doubt it, but
who knows?
A man can dream, right?
You can hope. Yeah.
Me being the Orange Nebula fanboy. So,
for those who don't know, Mike's an adjuster, so he follows the storms around and deals with all the aftermath for those homeowners who are in unfortunate situations. situations. So he's on the road.
Storm Raiders.
Yeah, he's on the road a lot.
Yeah, they had a major. It makes me feel at home. I know it already. Right?
I've always wanted to retheme Pandemic into like a claims board game. Each color is like that. The red is fire, and blue is water claims, and yellow is hurricane claims.
I'm sure there's a big market for that.
I think,
two people.
I think you're onto something there, man.
Right, we got the dispatchers sending out contractors, and anyway,
that sounds exciting.
Listen, I took Pandemic to work, and I gave it to my team to play. Right, so I brought my team into a team meeting and did a team building exercise where we played Pandemic, and each player, it was a couple of 3 people for each player kind of working together. I tell you what, I learned so much about my people in that one play. Like the guy that I wasn't sure about, like the young guy, he started coming up with some crazy plans on how to clear out the cubes, and I realized that guy's got it. Like he's got this strategic mindset. Right, and during that play, I was like, God, I wish this was a claims game, not like illnesses. So
strategery.
You could turn it into like an RPG where you have to, you start out, you got to get your license, and then you got to learn the software.
Your khaki pants and your blue shirt.
Nope.
Right. You make the mistake of working for State Farm. Did I say that out loud?
Not nice. Not nice. We just lost 2 viewers.
Jake and Jake left.
Yeah. So anyway, I figured I'd give you guys a quick call and just talk Kickstarters real quick, before I get back to work.
Just don't spoil our podcast, man. We got that topic.
Yeah, you and Wayne going to record another podcast here?
Yeah, probably the next week.
Yeah, Wayne made a great suggestion, man. I love that suggestion because I've definitely had a few stinkers, but I've definitely had winners too over the years that I've been kickstarting. So
nice.
Yeah. All right.
Well,
all right, fellas. I'll let the line open up for the rest of the tens of thousands of callers looking to get in on that one line. So
appreciate you calling,
Wesley Chapel.
Yeah. Be safe. Yeah. Be safe out there. Don't do anything crazy. Watch out. People are nuts out there.
Listen, do not tell them how much damage they have until you're off the roof. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Once you're off the roof, then you can tell them about what you didn't find.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell them how much damage they have. You just can't tell them it's not going to be covered. That's you never say that while you're on the roof.
No.
Yeah, because then you find yourself without a ladder and you're playing like snakes and ladders.
Exactly.
He knows it. He's done it enough. Yeah.
Stay safe, Bobby.
Oh, yeah. All right, fellas.
Appreciate
Take it easy.
Night.
See ya.
That's our buddy Mike Lorenzo, host of the show, out grinding.
Yeah.
Getting that work done.
Get some money.
Insurance Z, like pandemic.
Insurance Z, yeah. Got to be a lot of water damage from frozen pipes the last couple of weeks, I'm sure.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Speaking of water pipes, what about Watergate?
Sure.
Just taught Rob some Watergate.
What a crazy transition.
That was a game you bought from one of the flea markets that I was looking to buy.
Yes, Dice Tower, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I picked up Watergate. Haven't played it yet, but I saw a lot of discussions on it lately. I don't know how or where I saw it, but it just maybe it was the top 10 list or top 100 list that people were putting out. I feel like everybody's doing one.
Yeah.
And I keep seeing good things about it. I'm like, I've had it. Why haven't I played it? Yeah. So today I've had 2 runs of it. Right now I'm halfway through with Rob. Did about half a game with my wife just to kind of get the rules down and the turn order down. And I'm hoping to finish this game up with Rob, but I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I'm liking.
2-player only game, head-to-head. I guess you wouldn't call it a skirmish game, although it's kind of. Yeah.
It's cool because it's got this Twilight Struggle feel to it.
Yeah,
so if you ever play Twilight Struggle, 13 Days, the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Another one in that series.
These games where you're playing cards that have dual purpose, either one to gain influence for the top of the card, and that can be done to gain influence in different regions, or 2, the bottom of the card for events. The events trigger really cool things, but tend to make you have to discard the card or take a penalty or something. It has that, right? But what it does is, instead of being a map of the world or of regions where you're trying to gain influence in, it's this web, right? Everybody's seen that meme of the crazy guy like pointing to the board and it's got all the string with the thumbtacks on it, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like that kind of a web of a board where you're playing the role of the editor of the newspapers and you're trying to pin Nixon on Watergate. Nixon's in the middle of this web of strings. It's a bunch of strings that come off of Nixon into different zones that are different colors, green, blue, yellow, right? So then what you're trying to do is get the informants out on the board. So you need to play cards to get informants on the board. Once the informants are out on the board, your goal is to try to connect those strings with evidence to Nixon. If the editor can connect 2 of the informants to Nixon, they instantly win. Nixon's goal is to hide the evidence.
Stall.
To turn informants so that they won't inform on you. So he's going to stall in order to try to get through his term as president without having been caught and then having to resign before impeachment. So that's the theme of the game. The theme, to me, and what I'm seeing so far, could be anything.
Oh, yeah.
It could be anything.
Definitely tacked on.
It is. But the base that it's tacked onto,
yeah,
I'm seeing, like, I like it. Like,
it's
me like it.
Yeah.
Like, this whole, I'm playing cards to get control, to build this web, to Rob's trying to run, Rob's putting out an informant, and I'm like, well, fine then. I'll just start surrounding that informant with bad evidence so that you can't connect them to Nixon, right? So I'm trying to block all those paths to Nixon. So then Rob's got to find another informant, but then I found an informant, and I'm like, oh, I'm flipping that informant before Rob ever gets to them. Now they're on my side, and we're just this back and forth where it's a tug of war track and the board. So it's like two places where you're working on. So. More to come. I know that was a quick one.
No, you're liking it quite a bit. You liked the predecessors, so I mean, you were definitely a fan of Twilight Struggle, even though we never got heavy into Twilight Struggle. And then the Cuban Missile Crisis, we played that a little bit.
I've taught that to other people and played without you.
Yep.
I enjoyed it more than you did, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
I think the history of it.
So that's what I was going to say is that, yeah, it's definitely got its audience, but there's definitely people who don't like that type of game. But yeah.
I enjoy some Twilight Struggle, but I really love the Steam app version because, like, Carlos, have you played the Steam version of Twilight Struggle?
I've seen it. I've seen the videos. I've never purchased it.
The best part about it is as you're playing the cards, like if you played a Fidel Castro card, it'll play like a little 30-second clip of a Fidel Castro speech.
I'm in.
No,
Sold me.
It's like all audio,
Yeah.
like in the headset. I wear the headset and I'm playing the game, and just all of the Reagan speech or Nixon speech or Castro or Gaddafi. Like it's got all clips of.
So instead of the italicized flavor text at the bottom,
Which nobody reads.
Here, like, yeah.
I read.
Of course you do.
I was reading them to you.
Nobody
As
reads.
Rob was playing cards in Watergate, I'm reading the little tiny font to Rob.
Nope.
The Steam version of Twilight Struggle is awesome.
All right, I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Well worth it and you can play against the bot, the computer, and it's pretty tough. But yeah, it's good.
All right, Carlos, you buy it. I'll check it out.
Liquid Snake says Twilight Struggle is one of my most played games.
Well, that's a lifestyle game. It's a game that you got to get into and learn the cards and know the strategies for if you're going to play well. But, 350 hours on the TS app. Yeah. Tabletop. No, it's not TTS.
No, that's I believe that's the Twilight Struggle app, because I believe there's also a separate app for Android /
Gotcha.
And I think it's probably the app for the app is the same as the one you would get in Steam anyway, or I think it's the same. So
okay, nice.
I don't have nearly 350 hours, so he crushed me. There is definitely, when you know the cards, it's definitely the kind of game that.
Oh yeah. There's cards in there that change everything. And if you know that card's in there and is likely to come up, then you play differently.
It's kind of like Scythe, where there's a couple, like you can know the game. And
it's kind of a way to do it. Yeah. For sure. All right, Carl's got another goodie on the table. What you got there, Carlos?
Yeah, before I forget, Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing this live on TV. I was supposed to I had committed to bringing some coin capsules to her at the TGG flea market and completely forgot. So she says, you know what, give him to Rob. I tend to see him more in gaming.
Yeah, we made
So she said she needed 4 coin capsules. These are 31 millimeter coin capsules that I saw her post on our Discord. So there's a shout out for our Discord there.
I'm on the floor now.
In our Discord, she posted that she had coin capsuled all of her ready set bet.
Ready set bet. There you go.
Not coins. I don't think the coins. I think just the chips, the betting chips.
Yep.
But she was 4 short. Well, I bought 100 packs, so I know that should be enough. I'm going to send 6 her way, Robert.
You sure 96 is going to be enough for you? Or no, 94 is going to be enough for you.
Yeah, because it's 6 or 5 betting coins per player.
How many players does it play?
54.
6 players, I think.
Okay.
And then I think 4 extra chips that come off the cards for betting, like the black chips and the white chips. But when it comes to the actual money chips, I use my
coins.
My clays.
Iron clays.
Iron clays. I use my iron clays for that. So I'm going to send 6 of these.
Sweet.
Over to Michelle.
You see it. I've got them right here, Michelle. Right
Witness
here.
it.
Yep, got them.
Witness. Show them. Done. It's been transferred.
6. Let me count. Out at you. 2, 4, 6. Got it. Okay.
I made a liar of myself this weekend when I didn't show up with them. I felt terrible.
Yeah, taking home goodies here.
Rob's got a little goodie bag over there.
Terrible.
Ooh, I got to keep coming to the show.
Let me be quick on my haul.
We got a couple other things to talk about. Hurry.
Gods of Asgard. I don't have that. I don't think I have that, but I scooped it up.
Nice.
It's an expansion for Blood Rage. I know Wayne still needs to play, right? Am I right? Was it Wayne that still needed to play?
I played Blood Rage once. I need to play it again.
Okay.
And this definitely changes things. Big changes with this Gods.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. I have the 5th player expansion of this, so I scooped that up at the flea market.
Cool. Throw it on the floor to be okay.
This made me super happy here.
Oh,
The presidential box of the Survivor Pack
more
for Zombicide Second Edition.
Zombicide.
But it's got the presidents.
Sure.
It's got
Nice.
Lincoln with a shotty
You
and
didn't
an
have that.
axe.
You didn't have that before.
No, I couldn't get it because I don't kickstart.
I thought
Because
you
I
had.
don't kickstart, these things are too
Somebody
expensive
in
to
our group
buy.
had it. Somebody was posting pictures.
But somebody at the flea market gave me a great deal on this. Thank you so much for the deal.
The TGG flea market was great. The prices were even better. Like
It was insane.
Nice.
people
Like,
really
I-
priced
listen,
stuff to move, man.
Wayne, I asked the guy how much, and he told me, and I told him, okay, and I said $10 more. Like, I'm robbing you. I feel like I'm robbing you if I don't pay you $10 more than you said.
Wow.
And I paid him $10 more than he said.
Nice.
Like that's like I felt bad. Now notice I didn't do that to the guy who sold me heat. Anyway,
Okay.
and in that sale, I picked up extra player mats for Zombicide Second Edition. So now we can go all the way up to, I believe, 12 players
Holy
is what this
crap.
takes it to. So we can do a 12. It's got the rules for a 12-player
When
game.
you're getting 12 people together to play Zombicide.
And what 8 hours will we have to play it?
Woo.
Just pick Saturday.
Yeah.
This one was cool. I was super excited about seeing this.
Oh, Mall Peak.
Mall Peak, part 2 of Skulk Hollow.
Yep.
Rob, I think we talked about it last week because Wayne had played it,
Last
right?
couple weeks, yeah.
Wayne got it played.
Played it again. My kid beat me for the first time.
Yeah, I saw you post that. Nice.
So now we got the Frosthaven version.
Hey, Frosthaven.
Of Skulk Hollow, but these are apparently, Rob says, the players and the monsters of this version are interchangeable.
Interchangeable.
I loved what they did with the meeples, those monster
Oh, yeah,
meeples,
cute.
the meeple characters. Like they just, this makes me say, you know what? You don't need miniatures. You don't need
I haven't
minis.
seen this one yet.
That one's
those
good.
are cool.
Dude, go ahead, throw that all out. Don't worry, we'll
Just
set
put
that up
wherever you
later.
want. Yep. Nice.
Check this buy out.
More minis. Cool.
My man Diego sold me
Oh.
Innis.
I wasn't a huge fan, but I know it's got a big following.
Oh, now I'm disappointed. Anybody want to buy a copy?
Innish.
Barely used.
Oh,
Yeah, it's not bad.
Nick is saying calling now is alive. I think Nick was trying to call in.
Uh-oh. Carlos isn't paying attention to the
Hang
phone over
on.
there.
We would have heard it.
He gets
You would have heard it
excited. He gets
ringing.
excited. Oh,
You
yeah,
would have heard it
still here?
ringing.
All right.
Oh, he did call. I must be blocking that dude.
Dude. Open that phone line.
Okay, Nick, get
All
him
right,
outta
Nick,
here.
try again. He's doing the phone thing over there. Nick is actually a big fan of Innish. He taught it to me at Dice Tower at the retreat. Actually, we played it at the retreat, and it's a good game. It's a solid game. Area control, playing cards. There's a deck of cards. Everybody's you deal them out randomly each time. I forget how many cards in the deck, but I think you deal them all out, or there might be a couple that don't come out each round. But so you learn, once you learn what the cards are, you know what all the possibilities of different actions are. But you use those cards to do actions to control different areas. And the winning point of the game is controlling areas. But if that's Nick on the phone, I can't see. He will tell us more about Innish, I'm sure. But hey, Nick,
Hello and good evening, gentlemen.
how are you?
I made it through. This is Nick from Wesley Chapel.
Yeah, Carlos
Hello,
has,
Nick.
Carlos has phone challenges over there, but that's okay.
No, it's fine. You guys are doing great. You're rock star. No, you've had a busy show. It's been good, and Axe Throwing went late, so I didn't join until the 10 o'clock hour. You know, my favorite after dark time, anyways.
Oh well, we're glad you joined us, but you did miss some good stuff tonight. We've been actually almost back to back callers, so lots of good stuff tonight. What you got?
Yeah, well, actually, I did not call to talk about Innis. We did play. I think it might have been Mitchell to teach it. I knew the game. I had already played it, but Mitchell
Was it?
Mitchell, God bless him, did his normal. You'll pick it up.
His abbreviated teach.
Yeah, 30-second teach, and we'll play. You'll learn it as we go.
Did you learn it from Mitchell?
I can't remember. I know. Mitchell
Is that
did
what
play.
ruined it for you?
That may have been. It
That
was
usually does
it
with
was a Mitch
Mitchell. Like you and him
experience,
are like oil and water.
Yeah. He taught me what Red Cathedral. Everybody loves Red Cathedral.
And you were like,
I hated it. Yeah, but he stomped me. He admitted he doesn't reel it back at all, and he plays all out. And so we learned the game. I think it's advertised for like a 30-minute game. He beat me in 15 minutes, and we were done.
it's got to be the you and Mitchell thing. So
Yeah,
we need to play this
probably.
separate. Then.
Okay, maybe we'll try.
We'll give it another try.
I'm willing to play it. Yeah.
Good call out, Nick. Good
Yeah.
call out.
All right.
Innis, bad review.
Innish.
Where's the H?
It's Gaelic, but anyway.
Whoa! I know it's after 10 o'clock, but
Gaelic. Anyway,
Gaelic for
I know
Ireland.
that was one mic, one games call. You know, talking about whatever.
I lost you there, but okay.
Anyways, I called because I actually did have a busy weekend of gaming last weekend. So it's a Thursday night show. You're getting now the report of Friday, Saturday. I don't know if Rob has already mentioned we had our triumphant return to Frosthaven last Friday.
Yes.
So that was great.
Finally
That was
got
really good.
back to. We haven't played in a couple months, and so it felt good to get back on the horse. It's after 10 o'clock. We can say that.
It's been, there you go. It actually has been a couple of months for the New Orleans trip. Speaking of Mitchell, it was before the solo trip out to New Orleans.
Wow.
It was the last time we played.
Been a while.
Yeah.
And we're
But,
set up to play
we had
again
a lot of
tomorrow
fun.
night, so I'm looking
It was
forward
a
to it.
lot of fun.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, it was a lot of fun, and we had enough room to even play the Quest for El Dorado. Talk about a lighter, approachable, social deck builder that then has a neat race component to it. I taught Joe that game, and we actually even played that after Frosthaven because we had delusions of doing 2 Frosthaven scenarios, and we didn't quite have time for that, but we had time for Frosthaven plus a light game. So that was good, and that segues in the very next day. We had our monthly Wesley Chapel board game day the next day, Saturday, and I actually taught that same game. I remembered how easy it was to teach and how approachable it is, and so I taught that to some new members of the Wesley Chapel board gaming group. So shout out to Janella and Chris for making me out to their first event. It was nice to meet them.
We had a bunch of new people at the Wesley Chapel game group this past week.
It was great. It was really, and I learned. That was the only game that I played that day that I knew at the start of that day. Wayne taught me Comic Hunter, so I finally got Comic Hunter.
Oh yeah, great game.
Yeah, it was so good.
It is so good.
And it does a really neat thing. Wayne already heard this. This is based on one play, initial impression. But I love that it gives me this whimsical feel of a bunch of mini games that all tie together. They all are going to be scored at the end of the round or whatever end of the game in the same way. But all those little okay, this time we're drafting. Next time we're picking rows. Next time we're walking to convention hall and picking and shuffling things around. And each of those little mini games is very easy but fun. It's just plain fun. And then the whole time, you're just piecing together your big overarching collection with that big end game scoring. So I like it. I like it a lot.
Great game. Carlos, have you played that yet?
Yeah.
No.
Still haven't played it. Okay. I wanted to confirm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you'll like it, Carlos. Because
I don't disagree.
It's funny. Everybody who's played it, everybody who calls in who played it the first time, love it. Play it, love it. And as we've heard, some rumblings that it
there's
should
going
be
to be
coming
a
to the States.
U.S. copy later this year. Yeah.
Yeah, should be coming to the States this year. So
don't go chasing it down for a few $100. Just wait.
No.
Don't pull a Wayne.
I didn't chase it down for a few $100, man.
He just had a mule bring it across the border for him.
Bring it in, smuggle it in.
Coyote.
Back on the horse.
I enjoyed the non-English copy of it. Actually, I thought it was
the Portuguese.
Neat.
Yeah.
Are the cards in Portuguese?
No, the cards are all in English. The board is in Portuguese.
The comics are English, but yeah. But all the directions on the board for the steps and everything is all Portuguese.
Kind of like Bang the card game. Like it's all in Italian, so it's fun because you get to throw down cards and say the Italian words.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, and once you know the gameplay, the cards are in English only because they're showing the actual printed comic. The relevant gameplay is all the icons, and so it's language independent.
But are the icons in English?
Shut up. It's Spanish.
Spanish iconography. Yeah.
Yeah. No, anyways, so then what else? Fleet, the dice game. I actually had never played Fleet, the dice game. A great little
game.
Roll and write there.
Yeah.
That Knox played along, and actually that one was taught by, I think, Sean, another, not new to the hobby by any means. He's definitely a gamer, but I don't think he had attended a Wesley Chapel board game day before, so he was his copy. He brought it and he taught, and we played. Wayne and I played with Knox and Sean, and so that was fun. And then later on in the day, it started to thin out a little bit, and we did have the event at a new venue by accident. This was, I'll admit, a snafu on my part. I had been trying to get in touch with Double Branch, the brewery we normally meet at. I actually had called them a few times to confirm, but they never answered, and that's fine. I'm not going to hold it against them. But every time I walk by, there's plenty of room, no problem. Well, it just so happens Knox was the first one there. He showed up a little before the event was going to start, and then sends me a message being like, so there's a cornhole tournament at Double Branch today, and we're not playing there. And so we pivoted quickly just right across the parking lot to Troublemakers. It's a dueling piano bar, neat little setup, but middle of the day, no one's in there. It's a piano bar. It's all about the evening show. But it's a full-service restaurant, full-service bar. They push tables together, no problem. We had plenty of space. We had probably like, 14 or 15 people in there at one point, taking over a good chunk of the restaurant. And food was good, drinks were good. So that was a lot of fun. And then I'll say, as we got to the evening, though, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, this is a restaurant, and people have, like, dinner reservations. So it started to get a little more crowded and whatnot in there. But we did get myself and Dan. Dan made it out, which was really cool.
Oh, your turn, Dan?
I saw pictures, yeah.
Great.
This was his first Wesley Chapel board game event that he got to attend as not the owner of the establishment, you know?
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun for him. And we played Fantastic Factories, which was also new to me.
Nice.
And I liked it a lot.
Fun game.
Yeah. Nice.
Yep.
I know Mike Lorenzo, a big fan of that one.
There you go. No, I can see it's definitely a fun little engine builder there. Little tight, but opens up as soon as you can have some extra abilities, and the dice placement and the dice utilization every turn is fun. Again, we talked about that before.
Yep.
No bad turns. The first turn, you're a little limited. You kind of have to do what you do, right? Okay, I need some energy. I need some coal, whatever. But as soon as you've got maybe 2 or 3 extra powers at your disposal, then it's like every turn, no matter what I roll, this is fun.
Yeah.
So it was good.
I think
liked it a lot.
I mean, I'm not speaking for Nick, but I think that the Troublemakers place is probably going to be a go-to place going forward, because the good thing is they open even earlier. They open at 11 instead of 12:30, so we can start earlier. We just know that like comes about 6 o'clock is kind of like the max time period. So 11 to 6 is still a pretty decent game day. So
yeah,
I mean, Armada's open to 11.
There you go. Yeah.
Head out for the after party.
I was saying the food though was very good. I mean, I had lunch and then I stayed for dinner. My parents are actually in town. They came and brought my kids. The reason I got to play 4 games in a row and not worry about anything is my parents had the kids for the day, so nice little grandparent day, and then they brought them over to Troublemakers, and then we just stayed for dinner. It was great. So
nice.
That worked out really well. So I will say, from the Wesley Chapel, as long as I'm the one making the once a month, anyone can make other events on that group, by the way. I did have some other folks say that they'd be happy to play more than once a month, and I'm like, great. There's the create event button on the page.
Post it up. Yeah.
But
we are still dads and employees and husbands. Like we got a lot going on.
Stuff to do. Yeah.
Right. But I would say the in general, the once a month board game events that I create will always then be at a place that serves food. That's going to be a thing for me. That's big fan of I don't have to cram in nothing but board gaming and then have, trail mix on the side or something. I want to have a meal, sit down, order a beer, wait. I was so jealous of Wayne, though. His beers look so good. I was trying to be good and not drink that day, but
you are very different than me. I'm a
granola bar out of his
table. A can of SpaghettiOs right there at the table kind of guy. Game. Yeah.
I mean, and I can get into that. Like when we go to Dice Tower East, fine, all good. But for me, it's the vibe I'm going for, I'll say. With the Wesley Chapel group is more of like let's go to a local bar and hang out.
Cool.
Kind of thing.
Well, before we let you go, I got to just jump back to the beginning of your call. I don't know if you're ready to wrap up yet, but the beginning of your call, Road to El Dorado. I really appreciate you teaching that. It's a game I've wanted to play for a long time. I know a lot of people like it. It's light. It is very light. It's not too light. I think there's enough crunch there that I really enjoyed it.
Is it Wingspan light?
It's lighter than Wingspan, I think. It's easier to pick up. It's real straightforward. A lot of fun, though. And I know when I picked the game off your shelf, we went in, we were looking for something to play in an hour or less. I know Joe was hesitant because he was trying to get it done in an hour because he needed to get home. And I think the playtime on the box was an hour. He's like, oh, learning this game, is it going to be an hour? And I felt a little bit of hesitancy from you. I don't know if it was because you hadn't played it recently, so you weren't completely up on the rules or whatever. But you pulled it together and taught it pretty quickly, and I'm really glad we played. I really enjoyed it, and that's a game I definitely want to play again. So Road to El Dorado, really good game. The good Dr. Reiner Knizia.
1999?
Yeah, it's a classic.
2017.
2017. Or is it a new reprint of it?
It's the Quest for El Dorado.
Quest for El Dorado? Is it Quest for? Yeah.
Quest.
Quest for El Dorado. Okay.
Okay, there we go. 2017, found it.
There you go. So
it's Ticket to Ride heavy. 1.92.
Yeah, it's pretty light. Ticket to Ride would be a good comparison. Yeah, but it's a lot of fun.
And Rob, to your point, we did we checked it. We did the teach and 3-player game in an hour.
Yeah, we got it all done in an hour.
It wasn't even really that tight. Because once turns are nice and snappy. You can draw your whole hand while other people go, and then in general, other people's turns don't impact yours a ton. They can, but we were able to kind of move around, and even I was taking turns at a reasonable pace. So
yeah. This is a racing game, just for those who are interested. It's a racing, card collecting, card playing game. You're trying to race to the end of I'll say a track, although it's multiple pieces of this board, and so it's modular. You can lay it out different ways. The rule book has 5 or 6 or 7 different ways you can lay it out, and it gives you more complexity. So there's a base way to play that's real simple that kind of helps you pick up the rules, and then as you learn the game, you can lay out these tracks that are more complex, and you're playing these cards to move through different areas. I enjoyed it quite a bit. Again, these guys always give me a hard time about not liking light games, but this was definitely light, as the BGG will tell you, and this is one I definitely would pull out and play again.
It's rated 121, so it's near the top 100 of all time. So
yeah, it's a really good game.
Awesome. Well, hey, I'm music to my ears. And I will say I shared that because, like I said, I put it away Friday night and then just left it out so I could take it Saturday morning. Because I'm like, yeah, I know this is a nice game day, kind of like, oh, what do we need? We need something quick and easy to fill. So it was great.
Yeah,
awesome.
Appreciate it.
Now I'm glad I didn't. Now I'm upset I didn't play it.
Yeah, there you go. You'll have your opportunity. I'm sure Nick will bring it again.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, we'll get another one. I heard the previous caller, which actually sounds really neat. The event towards the end of February, 23rd, 24th. I will say I'm eyeing the Saturday the 24th probably to have my next event, just because that's what I do for Saturday. But we'll see. If you guys are not doing anything on the 10th, the second Saturday, I could do that. I don't know. Up to you guys. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We'll take it offline.
Definitely. Yeah, we'll post something up, and still working on the second Saturday. We might move our second Saturday to second Sunday. I'm looking at doing a thing on Sundays at my community meeting area. They've got a place that I can I say rent, although it's free. You just put down a deposit and get the money back. So I'm working that out. So we may have something set up there. I'm hoping for February, where we'll announce that and get people out. But hopefully get back into the swing of doing a monthly game day for the Beans and Dice group, and then, of course, open that up to the Wesley Chapel group, and we'll make it a big communal thing.
Love it. Very good. All right. Well, I'm going to let you guys go right here at the top of the hour, pretty much.
Appreciate it, Nick. We got to get together now that Dan's back in the wild. We got to get Sleeping Gods back on the table and get that finished up.
Yes. Oh, crap. Real quick. I put it in chat, but I will say, like a month ago, I thought the really heavy Kickstarter notification I was going to get was going to be Mythwind. Me and Mike talked about that and everything, but no, it turns out it was ISS Vanguard, which is awesome and it looks really cool. No, I haven't played it yet, but I mean, it looks really cool. But I will say I did just receive the shipping notification for Mythwind, and I was watching a little how to play video and seeing I'm part of like the Mythwind Facebook group community, and it looks cool. I know, Rob, not related to Sleeping Gods because you're not going to play. This is the game where you don't actually win, you just play.
Gross.
But I
threw up in the back of my mouth.
Yeah, not actually a game. It's an experience. Yeah, experience. Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, just to round up that Kickstarter talk before, like Mike, I have cooled off. In fact, it's to the point where I haven't backed a Kickstarter for a new game in quite a while, actually. And I'm fine with that. It's very good. But when I saw that shipping notification from Ifwind, having already kind of seen other people getting their game and seeing pictures and whatnot, I was like, ooh, there's that spark.
Got all tingly.
Yeah. I am excited about this game to arrive.
Nice.
So, anyways, just throwing that out there. Very good. All right. Now it's 11 o'clock. I'm going to let you guys go.
Appreciate it, Nick. Thanks
All
for
right,
calling.
Wayne.
You guys have a great day. Yep. Bye-bye.
Rest of the show is yours, Wayne. What? Well, at least the haul piece. Talk about your haul.
Talking about my haul. All right. Well, they're in the other room, but I can share some photos here, so I'll do that real quick. So the first thing I picked up, I was able. I already own Skokalo, thanks to you guys. But there was a
I blame
vendor there.
Rob.
Blame me.
Rob,
Blame
yeah.
me.
He hyped it
I'll
up
take it.
so
Yeah, I'll take
hardcore
it.
after
Cool.
Louisiana.
It hasn't, hasn't let you down yet, right?
No, it hasn't. It's
hasn't.
been fun. It's been fun with my kid. He really was into it. He wants to play the other monsters. There was somebody there, the same person who that Carlos bought Ball Peak from. She had Skull Hollow, and she had this like a little expansion pack with the ancient relics. So I towards the end of the day, I hadn't sold. I said, "Hey, would you be willing to sell these separate?" And she said, okay." And I bought them. So and then she had this thing, and I misread it. This World of Bore, Runes and Ruins. It says a single player adventure for set between Skull Hollow and Maul Peak. So I thought it was
you didn't misread that. I read it too.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, DLC expansion solo.
solo play, whatever. But what it is, it's like a little card deck that tells a story of like how you go from Skull Hollow to Maul Peak, and there's like on the cards are like scratch offs, and it's like this single player game that will tell you a narrative story between the games of Skull Hollow and Maul Peak, which I'm down for.
That's pretty cool.
I'm kind of cool with
Experience.
that. Yeah, it's a cool experience.
One time solo experience. Yeah.
That's what it seems like. Yeah, but I'll play it, do it with my kids, so it'd be fun. We'll do it together maybe.
Cool.
And then there was a guy there. He sold Marvel United, which I've never played, and now I own it. And I left the price tag there, $10.
Wow.
For all of that. So it was the base game, the Into the Spider-Verse, and then Doctor Strange for $10. And what he said is like, Amazon had that sale like a year or two ago. They were selling this bundle for like $10. And he said, I bought like 6 of them and I gave some away for Christmas presents. And the ones I didn't give away, I just want to get my money back. So I'm willing to pass it on to people for what I paid for it. I'm like, all right, great.
Nice.
So I'm super excited to play that with my kid.
Man, hearing what y'all got for the prices you got, I'm so disappointed I didn't make it. But yeah, keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. So this I didn't get I didn't buy it at the flea market. I got it at the flea market, but so Rob, you gave me a Hellas and Elysium for free. So great. And then Mike Lorenzo shipped to me, and I got it from Carlos on that game day, Terraforming Mars. And then I got Prelude for like $10. Somebody was selling it for like $10.
That's a great kit right there, bro.
So that great kit right there is like
that
$10.
really is about all you need, in my opinion. There's some other expansions that do different things, but that is what you need. Yeah.
I don't think I've touched the other expansions. I know Mitchell loves them, but Prelude, the 2 boards, and the base box with the folded space insert.
Yes, with the folded space insert. Yeah, so I'm good to go. Yep,
nice.
I'm gonna print some overlays, and now I want to play it again because I want to get. I'm playing it. I'm playing a copy of it on BGA right now, and I'm realized, wow, I have no idea what I'm doing because I haven't played this game in so long.
Yeah.
So, but it's fine. I don't mind that.
Anytime, we'll break it out. Let's do it.
All right, I'll do it. So then the last photo is the thing that I was like, yes. So, right there, the entirety of the Kickstarter version of Final Girl Season 1. Season 1, everything. I walk in the door and Michelle Gallagher, and Sam immediately come up to me like, "There's somebody selling Final Girl here," and I went right to the table and it was in a bucket, and I'm like, "How much?" She's like, $100. I'm like, "Done."
Yeah, everything. Season 1.
Shut up, take my money.
Shut up, take my money.
Done.
You take Venmo. Here you go. And then she's like, "Oh, and you can have the bucket it's in too. It's like this nice little folding bucket." I'm like, "Okay, great, thanks." So yeah, like before the flea market even opened, and what's funny is they brought it and they didn't think anyone was gonna buy it. Like they
what?
yeah,
because the $100 price tag, or
I guess the $100 price tag or the solo.
This one has the minis too, right?
It has the minis, the playmat. So I got the minis, the playmat, all of the base box and all the main things. It's got the Terror from Above, which is kind of like the birds attacking expansion, the little Lorzen scenario book, and then that little danger box is a Kickstarter exclusive. Spoiler, it's a Necronomicon, where if you open up the Necronomicon, it has 2 dice, and if you roll the dice, it gives you a Final Girl and a scenario. So it's got it's a way to
cool.
randomize,
like a randomizer.
Yeah, it's a randomizer. Little
don't know
Kickstarter
which combo I want to play today.
Yeah,
Nice.
so I'll just roll the dice, open up the Necronomicon, and roll the dice. So yeah, got the whole thing for $100, and I'm like, done.
So now all I need to get is the core set, and I can borrow from you two.
Yeah, it's the car set. I don't
Absolutely.
want to borrow my
Yeah.
stuff anymore because you got all the cool stuff. But yeah.
Oh no, you're still not taking yours home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You still
No,
borrow
but yeah,
fine.
you guys can borrow this anytime you want. And I figured
Sweet.
if I have all season 1, Rob, you have some of season 1.
Like about
Now we
half
can
of
just, if we all like it, my suggestion would be like, well, let's just start buying some stuff from season 2, or like there's that Christmas theme one on their website, which I'm like looking. I think is pretty cool. So
Yeah.
I've busted out and I kind of set it up. So I'll probably try to play it over the weekend for the first time. I think maybe Saturday night. I might
Sweet.
try to just get this played. But yeah, I was like, the one thing I wanted was there. Oh, but let me tell you, there was like 4 or 5 other things. There was the same seller that was doing this had the entirety of Mice and Mystics.
Oh, don't tell me. Bah, 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 bah. Go ahead.
Everything ever printed, like everything for $100.
All the stuff I missed. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was like 4 or 5 other games. There was like the Machikoro Legacy and a couple. And I went around and I said, all right, here's the deal. I'm here. I got there like 30 minutes before it opened because my kid's soccer game got done early. And I said, well, I bought the 2 things I really wanted. I'm good. And then I went around and I said, okay, I would like that. I'll wait an hour. And if it's there, then I'll buy it. Well, in the hour, they all went. So I was like, okay, wasn't meant to be. I'm good. So
Yeah.
that was the end of my purchases. I didn't go greedy, but there was a lot of good games. I found Biblios for Sam. The guy was selling Biblios,
Nice.
I think for $5 or $10.
Oh,
Wow.
he didn't know what he had.
Yeah.
No, he did.
gold.
He just was like, I'm done with it. I want to pass it on. That was the good thing is that most of the sellers at the TGG were like, I've played this game. I've enjoyed the game. I'm moving it on.
Give it another good home. Yeah.
Give it another good home. And I was like, that's really cool, man. I was very impressed with, the ease of the sale, what they had. Most everyone sold a ton of their stuff, which was good. So
Nice.
We also got to I got to see Dominic Truschiti from HMGS. He was there. Him and his wife were had a table, so I got to chat with him about the upcoming HMGS conventions. Also had an interview with Chris, who was a former guest or a guest of the show, not former. He's still with us.
Oh yeah.
He's a guest of the show, and he talked a little bit about TGG and what their plans are for the flea market. So check out the video we posted up on the YouTube. And then right after the end of the flea market, I think I taught a game of Shelfie Stacker.
Oh yeah.
So it was a play of Shelfie Stacker. I taught that one, which got me itching to play it again.
Yeah.
Like just throwing it on the table and explaining the rules as quick as I was able to right from the top of my head with maybe one reference of the rules that I had one question on. Outside of that, made me realize, okay, this game is easy to teach. It's easy to play. It's been like a month and a half since I played it. I should play it more. Like it.
Yeah.
That's nice. A nice light game.
it was okay.
Yeah.
It was good.
So I got there as you were leaving, and so we passed in the parking lot, and then as I walked in, they were finishing up the game. I watched them play the last couple of rounds. Watching them play the last couple of rounds was good for me. I don't need to play it again. I'm good.
It's too late.
Yeah, it's too late. Yeah.
Rob says too late.
Too late. 3 out of 10.
Yeah, I think it's I do want to play it a few more times to get a full grasp of it, like to see. But man, it's a little tough because if you don't get the dice rolls in those little pots, like you could just get kind of screwed out of stuff. But it was good. It was all right. It was great production value, so that's pretty nice. So
nice dice.
Yep.
It's
And
beautiful.
then after that, we played a game of First Rat.
Yes.
Yeah,
I got in on that. That was fun.
yeah. I like
Great
that
game. That's my second play. First time we played it, you taught it at Dice Tower. You taught me and Dan and might have been Mitchell, somebody else.
Nick.
Mitchell wasn't there this last year. Yep, that's it. And had a great time. And so I think I actually picked it. Y'all sent me into the game area to pick a game, and I grabbed it. I was like, hey, I know Wayne knows this one. I didn't know everybody had played it. I guess everybody at the table had played it once other than you.
Yep.
And good times. That's always a fun one.
Close game's good. Yeah, I know. I feel bad because Jim was trying to teach us. We had talked about playing. What's the Lacerda game? Oh my god.
Which one?
Lisboa?
Gallerist,
No,
Lisboa.
one of the Lacerda games, and I'm like, I don't. After I was there, I had soccer. My kid had 3 soccer matches all morning.
We were
And then
kidding. I mentioned On Mars. I was like, hey, let's play some On Mars. Yeah.
And I was like, I've been at a soccer field since 7 a.m. and then I came right to the flea market for 3 hours. I can't do a 3-hour board game right now. I got to do something that's a little lighter. So we went with First Rat. So that was good. I like that game.
Before we wrap up tonight, jumping over to a game that we've played, another game we played. We touched on it at the beginning, but I just saw the name of it. Do you remember the name of the game we're playing on BGA?
Sky Team. Sky Team.
Sky Team.
That's really cool.
That's been a lot of fun. I played one. I mentioned last week that I played with a rando, and we lost. When I played, we didn't really do much communicating at all. Fun
How it's
game,
supposed to be.
2-player only. Well, you have communication areas and non-communication areas.
Okay.
So you have areas in the game that are built in where there's breaks where you can discuss strategy. It's before you roll dice and you know what your dice are going to be the next round, but you can talk about, hey, you need to do this. You need to get a die over there to start the flaps. You need to start the breaks. I'm going to be using my dice for this. So if you can clear some planes off the runway. Wayne and I played the very basic introductory. The game ramps up with all kinds of extras that you can add in. So we actually just started our second game where we've added in a couple of more twists to it just to kind of see how good we can get at it.
I think I already screwed up.
Oh, did you really already? Oh man,
Yeah.
it's rough. It's just
Tension.
the roll of the dice. There's a little bit of dice mitigation, but like the last round of our game, I rolled 3 6s and a 1, and that's like the worst. You want dice in the middle because you can manipulate them a little bit one way or another by banking dice that you don't use in previous rounds. Each die that you bank allows you to roll a dice in a future round up 1 or 2, but you're limited to you can only bank 4. We never got, I think, more than 2 down there.
Right.
But in the late rounds of the game where you have to have specific dice go in specific areas, you can really be at the mercy of the die roll. And I thought we weren't going to finish that one off and do it because I rolled 3 6s and a 1, but we did. Your dice just happened to work out with my dice, and we won that first game. That was a lot of fun.
It's pretty cool, Carlos, because you have a pilot and co-pilot, and you have to balance the plane. So you have to control your pitch, you have to control your speed, but then you also need to clear the path. So you're descending. So there's planes in your way. You have to get them out of the way. Then you have to descend. So you're pulling in to descend. You have to do your flaps to do your speed, and then
Landing gear.
All of that has to hit in the last round so that your speed is 0, your pitch is perfect. There's no planes in your path, and you're at the right altitude, and then you can land, and then you have to have the brake dice to brake.
It's a lot of stuff has to come together.
It was stressful.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, those last couple of rounds, I was like, oh crap. And you, we're going to learn as we play more. Wayne and I, and certainly anybody you play with, the more games you play, you kind of learn how to give people hints at like, okay, I'm going to place. I've got 3 6s and a 1, and Wayne needs to match me on one of the die, so I'm going to place that one early so that he knows.
I got a lot of these.
Yeah, I wouldn't have placed a 6 there unless I had to, and so that gives Wayne a chance to react. He may have to use some of the concentration die to roll a 5 up to a 6 or a 4 up to a 6. So it's
just the coffee cups, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So coffee for concentration. I don't know if that works out.
It does.
Okay, all right. But anyway, it was more fun than I thought it was going to be. And like I say, Wayne and I, that nonverbal communication by place and die is a lot of fun.
I got it. I can't believe I missed that one.
That's
I should play it on BGA. I need to get back to playing some games on BGA before I buy things.
Yeah, Memoir 44. Your Watergate in this. That's all you need.
I didn't know Watergate was on there.
I didn't either.
I'm going to have to set up a game with you, Rob.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. I'm really liking this Watergate. Since I put it on the table, it counts now. I played it.
Yeah, of course.
It's off the shelf of shame.
Yeah. I think we hit all the games that I played because I played the one game, the first Rat at the BGA. I played Frosthaven with Nick and Joe. I did get in one more scenario of Jaws of the Lion with my daughter. So we're on like 9 or 10 now. So we're probably halfway through our journey through Jaws of the Lion.
I need to get back to that with the wife.
Yeah, so I think that hits. And then Sky Team was the other one I wanted to bring up here that we played on BGA. So I think that hits everything I played in the last week.
Nice.
Well, I got a good report. For Christmas, I had for my son's girlfriend's family, I bought a copy of Ticket. My wife and I bought a copy of Ticket to Ride, wrapped it up for them. I'm trying to, introduce them. I got them Green Team Wins. I think before that, got his girlfriend Deception Murder in Hong Kong, taught her. Right, so I'm kind of slowly introducing these board games into that family household. So they got Ticket to Ride. The report I got back was they went to Houston for vacation. Took my son with them. They went out to check out the Mission Control. Sounds cool. Sounds really cool.
Yeah.
But they took Ticket to Ride with them. Ended up playing it 3 times the first night.
Wow.
And then my son says that the entire time they were visiting the Natural History Museum and all these places, they kept talking about when to get back to go play another game of Ticket to Ride.
Nice. Got him hooked.
That's good, man.
So that's a great report.
That's a good welcoming game.
Don't sleep on Ticket to Ride, y'all. It's still solid.
No, it's still solid. Speaking of Houston Mission Control, off board game topic, but if you have Apple TV, man, or Rob Carlos, from For All Mankind.
Okay.
Fantastic show.
I'm waiting till March. to pick up a month of Apple TV.
I don't have it yet. Yeah, I got to
the Wings of War, the
airplane game,
the
airplane show.
Yeah,
the last
Bombers.
episode is on March 15th.
Okay, all right.
Because I want to blast it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, so you'll get Ted Lasso. Then
I want to watch Ted Lasso.
For All Mankind, Foundation, and Silo. Silo's fantastic too. But so For All Mankind it starts in like the late 1960s or 1960s, and it's Earth, right? But it's what happens if Russia beat us to the moon.
Oh
right?
yeah,
So we're getting ready.
You were mentioning that.
We're getting ready to launch the moon shot, the shot to the moon, but the Russians get there first. And what does that change in our history?
Alternate history.
It's so good. It's kind of like Man in the High Castle, Philip K. Dick, but
I like that.
But it's not as jumpy shark. It's very grounded in reality, and it follows the astronauts and their reactions to all of it, and it's good. It's a fantastic show, man. And like each season's like 10 years, so it's like the 60s to early 70s, then 80s. Then 90s, and the fourth season's in the early 2000s, and you can kind of see like how it diverges from our reality to what happened. So it's fantastic.
Well, it's a sad day here at the Cabrera house. Yesterday we finished the last episode of House. We started watching it I think right when the baby was born.
Oh, nice.
So we've been kind of like binging it.
How many seasons was that?
8
seasons.
Wow, yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
man, that was a great series. That House.
I told Carlos me and my wife watched it as they came out back in the day, so we watched them all. But yeah, we were big fans.
Got a little weird, but yeah.
Yeah, last couple seasons I thought they started changing some of the actors and stuff. New people came in, and it started feeling like it was falling apart a little bit. But yeah,
it felt like they tried to keep the same trope with a different character.
People. Yeah, it felt weird.
But fun moments.
Yeah. Did you watch Bass Reeves yet?
I finished Bass Reeves.
Good stuff. Yeah.
That was fast. It was only 8 episodes.
I know, it was good.
So fast, and I'm worried that they're not going to have more of it.
Probably not.
Because look at Yellowstone. I think we're only going to get half of the last season now. Like they're not even committing to.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's kind of falling apart. The creator, that Sheridan guy, turned into his head got a little big, I think.
Well, I think Costner had some other stuff to deal with too, with family issues, the divorce, and he kind of pulled himself out of the show.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. So anyway, Bass Reeves was good. I don't know how historically accurate it was though. They got a little not fantastical, but it got a little far stretchy.
Yeah, it was fairly decent. Like I read a little bit of like the Wikipedia on him, and it looked like it was not crazy out of control with what he did, but it was close. So.
But it was good representation of the West.
I'm looking forward to getting back to Welcome to Wrexham. I just won a bunch of awards. Won 6 Emmys or whatever they are for those shows. But
have you watched? You watched the first season of that? Then
I watched almost all the first season. I think I had 1 or 2 episodes left in the first season. They're all on season 3 now or something. They're getting ready to start.
Season T. They've done 2 full seasons and they're filming the 3rd.
They're filming 3rd now. Yeah.
What you folks at home are not understanding this is normally us after the show.
Oh yeah, chatting afterwards.
Like usually at 11 o'clock we would have shut it down, and then we sit and talk literally about this stuff after the show. Yeah. So you're getting a little insight into.
We didn't end the show yet.
Yeah,
still on the air.
We talk about what shows we've been watching. Yeah. So there you go, folks. This is what it's like to be part of Beans and Dice.
Yeah, you're all part of the family.
Exactly.
You're all beaners to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway,
getting deep here.
On that note, it's after 11. We thank you for watching. We will be back next week. I really got not much else.
No, that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you all for your prayers for us. And we pray that God blesses you and your families and that you can continue to join in. We will catch you all on the next one next week for another episode of the Beans and Dice Show.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.